Welcome to War Memorial Stadium in Laramie, Wyoming, where Jay Sawvell and the Cowboys are riding into the home opener today at a beautifully renovated War Memorial Stadium on a sun-splashed afternoon in Wyoming. Nate Kreckman along with Jared Petrino here this afternoon as we get set to bring you the Wyoming Cowboys opening the home portion of the 2025 season as they will play host to the Northern Iowa Panthers here today. And a Wyoming team coming off of an impressive showing in week one. Jared, a 10-0 victory on the road at Akron against the Zips, and they got some big-time offensive performances in that matchup in a road victory against a MAC opponent.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no better way to start the game than start the season with a game like that, and all the efforts that they had, starting off with and still being able to get better off of week one for sure.
Chris Durr was the story for the Wyoming Cowboys in that football game. The sophomore putting up a career-high 146 receiving yards in that performance. And he scored Wyoming's only touchdown of the football game, a yards-after-catch threat every single time he touches the football, Jared.
Absolutely. You got to get the ball in Chris Durr's hands, get him in space, have him make him miss, get him even short screens. He's able to take it to the house anytime he touches the ball.
Chris Durr, a weapon to watch today for Caden Anderson and this Wyoming offense. Balance last week for the Wyoming Cowboys. The run game was there as well. Sam Scott, number 22, a career-high 132 rushing yards last week on a career-high 29 carries. He's a bruiser at 230 pounds, Jared. He really carried the load that day from Wyoming.
Absolutely. He's a workhorse. He's in the backfield. It might not look flashy. It might not look pretty, but he's going to be efficient every time he touches the football. Finds those seams, able to break some tackles, carry guys with him, and move the chains for the Cowboys.
Yeah, that Wyoming offense only scored 10 points. Obviously looking to be a little bit more explosive this week as they get set to take on Northern Iowa. Now, let's talk about that Wyoming defense last week. Pitched a shutout in the opener against the Akron Zips. They gave up Zip in that football game, Jared, and they did it with their pass rush. They did it with forcing turnovers. An impressive performance for Aaron Bull's unit in game number one.
Yeah, you could tell that the coaches were excited about all three levels, defensive line, linebackers, secondary. Guys just got out there and made plays. There's a lot of questions. No one really knows a lot of names on this defense right now, but guess what? They went out there and played with great team speed, tackled in open space, and made plays and held the Zips to no points.
Ben Florentine with a huge performance in the middle. They're going to have to key on him today, Northern Iowa, as they're trying to move the football up and down the field. Braden Johnson, the transfer from Oklahoma Baptist, a huge interception to keep Akron off the board in that football game. And another one of the key stories here today for Wyoming, Jared, is a team that needs to play better at home. They were 1-5 last season here at War Memorial Stadium, and 4 of those losses came by a combined 13 points.
Yeah, absolutely. We talk about the renovations at War Memorial Stadium. Well, I think Coach Sawvell wants to restore the home field advantage as well. I mean, not very happy about the turnout last season at home, and obviously wants to nothing better to start on the right foot today and getting that first W for the Cowboys here at home, where War Memorial Stadium's got to be a home field advantage with the Mountain West schedule.
New renovations here at War Memorial Stadium. It's a gold out here this afternoon in Laramie. Jay Sawvell's team looking to kick off the 2025 season in better fashion. Kickoff is next. Wyoming and Northern Iowa take the field. We've got kickoff after this. Mountain West Football is sponsored by Intermountain Health, helping people live the healthiest lives possible. And presented by Ford Trucks, built better, built stronger, built Ford tough. Jay Sawvell in year number 2 at the University of Wyoming. 3-9 in year number 1 last year, off to a 1-0 start after last week's road victory at Akron. Jay Sawvell and the Pokes looking to get off to a strong start here at War Memorial Stadium in 2025. The Northern Iowa Panthers are led by their brand new head coach, Todd Stepsis, replaced Mark Farley, who was the head coach in Cedar Falls for 24 years. Stepsis spent the last 6 seasons at Drake, where he was the 2-time Pioneer League Coach of the Year. Nate Kreckman and Jared Petrino with you this afternoon on the Mountain West Network as we get set to bring you kickoff. Northern Iowa won the toss and deferred, so they will kick off, and it is booted into the end zone for a touchback. And Wyoming, with Caden Anderson at quarterback, will start things off from the 25-yard line, first down and 10. Caden Anderson was not sacked last week at Akron, threw for 260 yards and a touchdown in his season opening victory. It is career start number 5 here today for Caden Anderson and Wyoming. Sam Scott is the lone setback for the Pokes. First down and 10. And our first look at this Wyoming offense here this afternoon. Jackson Holman is the motion man, and a give to Scott. And Scott powers his way out across the 30, ahead to the 32-yard line. And right away, Jared, Wyoming is on schedule, picking up 7 yards on first down, and they go right back to work. Out of the shotgun, Anderson, bubble screen, outside, Holman, first down yardage and more across the 40, and a pickup of 9 yards on second down and 3. And Jared, nothing but tempo out of Wyoming here in the early going.
Yeah, I like this by Coach Johnson, trying to start fast and get the offense rolling, get them into a good rhythm.
That time, Anderson pulls it down, dumps it off to his tight end, John Michael Gillenborg, into Northern Iowa territory, and a gain of 18. One of the focuses for Wyoming. They wanted to get Gillenborg more involved this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Great job with play design, getting him on a spine route across the formation and into the flat, wide open.
Sam Scott takes the handoff, spins away from one tackler, but brought down for no gain. Here's today's starters on offense, sponsored by Laramie Auto Center. The quarterback, Caden Anderson, Sam Scott in the backfield. We're going to talk a lot today about the tight end, John Michael Gillenborg, who was second team all-conference. He's on the Mackey Award watch list, and he's already got an 18-yard reception in this football game. On second down, the reception is made by Jalen Sargent on a pickup of 11. Jared, the coaching staff was not pleased with Sargent's performance last week. In fact, his playing time was very limited. They said he had a great week of work, and right away they get him involved on the opening drive.
Absolutely. I love the two things Coach Johnson's doing. Create tempo, create rhythm, and then also getting Sargent a touch early in the game, Gillenborg a touch in the game, and get this offense going.
This time the give is to the running back Samuel Tote Harris, the true freshman from Cibolo, Texas. And let's get a look at those defensive starters for Northern Iowa after the pickup of 5 on first down. The key for this Northern Iowa defense, that middle linebacker Tucker Langenberg, coming off a 12-tackle performance last week and their season opening victory over Butler. Defensive coordinator Al Smith says that Langenberg is the extension of him out there. On second down and 5. Harris the lone setback. Play fake. Anderson rolling right, and he throws wide of his intended target, incomplete. And we'll see the first third down of this opening drive for the Wyoming Cowboys.
Yeah, good play design. Got Caden out of the pocket. They wanted to go to J. Mike there in the flat, wasn't available. went out to Sargent. I think this corner might have got a little bit of away with a little bit of pull right there, but if he keeps his hands tight, referee didn't see it. Okay, big third down here for the Cowboys.
First incompletion for Caden Anderson. Pistol formation right now with Harris in the backfield. Gillenborg, the tight end, lined up to the left. Durr, the man in motion, movement up front, and flags fly.
This will be interesting. We got both sides pointing at each other. Defense is saying offense move, offense saying defense moved.
Flags coming on both sides of the football field. And we'll march it back 5 yards, and it'll be a third down and long now for Wyoming.
A little bit of flinch there by the left guard, possibly there. I could see that. But here we go. Might have 2 downs here, Nate, to get this first down with the kicking situation with the Cowboys.
Wes King guilty of the false start on third down and 10. Anderson escapes pressure, throws behind his wide receiver, incomplete. And Eric Richardson took a shot. He immediately goes to the sideline, but an incompletion on a third down and 10, and the Wyoming drive stalls out.
Yeah, pressure there on Caden's right side, flushed him out of the pocket. Still was able to make a play, but unfortunately wasn't able to get that completion, bringing out Sandvik here for a field goal.
So Eric Sandvik, the kicker, on the left hash with a 48-yard attempt. Snap is down, the kick is up, and it falls short. So the first miss of the season for Eric Sandvik, and the Wyoming Cowboys come up empty on their first drive of the football game. It'll be Northern Iowa football coming up here in just a moment for their first offensive possession. And Jared, this is something that Jay Sawvell talked about with Eric Sandvik. Really, 48 yards is right around the limit of his range as a kicker, and he just didn't have enough leg on that one.
Right, he talked about left hash is not his forte. He's better from the middle and right hash. Just goes to show how important that offsides call was when it was third and 5 as opposed to 4th and 10.
So we get our first look at the Northern Iowa offense led by their quarterback, Matthew Scheckelman. And Scheckelman with a pitch ahead to his running back, Bill Jackson, for a pickup of 4 on first down. Bill Jackson, the transfer from Tulsa. In fact, he played here at Wyoming in 2022 for Tulsa. Had a couple of carries in that football game. That was a Wyoming victory. So Jackson experienced here at War Memorial Stadium. It'll be a second down and 6 for Matthew Scheckelman, the redshirt junior from Appleton, Wisconsin, quarterbacking this Northern Iowa offense. Takes the shotgun snap under heavy pressure, able to get the football out quickly. It was caught by the wideout Tyson Kershaw for a pickup of 8 and a first down. Nice work by Scheckelman under duress.
Yeah, just a good timing throw, throwing the out route there in the boundary. Great timing, great ball placement, able to move the chains there for the Panthers.
It's a base huddle tempo team. Northern Iowa will be in no hurry. 2 in the backfield right now with Scheckelman. 2 receivers split wide to the left. The handoff is to the back, Harrison Bay Bowie, and Bowie is met by a swarm and a pickup of 2 yards on first down. Let's check out those Northern Iowa starters offensively, sponsored by Laramie Auto Center.
Yeah, this is going to be a multi-set. Coach Bull expect them to be multi-set, trying to straight shift motion, do a lot of things to try to confuse the Cowboys defense eyes, and that's what we've seen so far in this first drive.
Anderson, the tight end, in motion. Handoff to Jackson, finds a crease, gets across midfield, and picks up 7 yards on that second down and 8 carry. It'll be a third down and short, right near midfield, and a critical down coming up right here on this opening offensive possession for the Panthers of Northern Iowa.
Yeah, absolutely. They're going big with Bay Bowie in the backfield here. I expect some type of downhill run here, trying to move the chains. Maybe coach probably thinks he's got 2 downs here to get this one too.
Jaden Williams and Anish Bios in the middle of the defensive line. Scheckelman rolls, tucks, keeps, first down, out of bounds.
And the Northern Iowa drive continues, a pickup of 3 yards on 3rd down and 1. And Matthew Sheckelman, a guy who the coaches love his poise. He does a good job spreading the football around, earned this job in fall camp. And Jared Petrino, you see right there, his ability to be able to make plays with his legs and sustain this drive.
Yeah, he showed that a lot last week against Butler. He created a lot, converted a lot of 3rd downs just with his legs, dropping back to pass and just creating seams and finding ways to move the chains with his feet.
Tight formation on 1st down. Play action. Sheckelman pulls it down, finds his receiver. That's J.C. Roque, and Roque lowers the shoulder and delivers the shot. Pickup of 9 on 1st down for Roque, the redshirt sophomore from Florida.
Just like I thought Coach Johnson had a good game plan coming out, I'm liking UNI's offensive game plan. They're doing a lot of misdirection, a lot of trying to take. Wyoming showed great pursuit last week, and they're trying to get him to over-pursue things and create leverage on the other side of the formation by moving the pocket.
2nd down and short. Roque in motion to give up the middle, and Wyoming was all over it. Delivering this shot in the middle was the middle linebacker Evan Eller, and no gain, a 3rd down and 2 coming up now for the Panthers.
Yeah, big play. Good to see number 11 out there, Bogar. He was not available last week, playing with the cast this week, but he was the first guy to make contact at the point of big tackle before a bunch of Cowboys came coming. But big 3rd and short here. They went play action pass last time on 3rd and short. Now we'll see if they come back to the downhill run game. They got both backs in the game to start this formation.
3rd down and 2 at the Wyoming 36. Approaching the 8-minute mark of this opening quarter. They hand it off to the bruiser, Bay Bowie, and he's tripped up in the backfield. I don't think he got there.
No, he did not. Great penetration. I don't know if he tripped or fell down or got tripped up by somebody, but look, he definitely got held up there. I think he loses his feet, but Bogar's there again, causing a 4th and short right here for the Cowboy defense. This would be a big stop right now for the Cowboy defense, get that ball back to their offense.
Zaya Bogar, the junior defensive end out of Riverside City College, playing with a cast on his hand. Northern Iowa keeps the offense on the field, and Todd Stepsis calls timeout. They want to talk this one over on a 4th down and 1. No score in the opening quarter, and a 4th and short coming up for Northern Iowa. Beautiful Sunsplash day at Laramie. Out of the timeout, a 4th down and 1 situation. Jackson Daly in a quarterback for Northern Iowa. He's the running quarterback, replaces Sheckelman on this 4th down and 1. Takes a snap. The give is to Bay Bowie. He is hit in the backfield, and he is dropped.
I think they blew the whistle. The right tight end for the Panthers on our side here jumped off sides. He jumped the count a little bit. Should make this 4th and 6.
Cal McNeil, our referee today, so erase that tackle for loss by Enoch Sibamana and march it back 5 yards. And now on a 4th down and 6 with the ball spotted at the 40-yard line of Wyoming. Midway through, basically exactly midway through this first quarter. And Matthew Sheckelman back out onto the field as you and I will line up to go for it here on a 4th down and 6. Let's see what Aaron Bull dials up here for Wyoming. Sheckelman back from midfield, loads up, lofts it high right side. It is over the head of the intended target, Roque, incomplete, but a flag comes down as there was a considerable amount of contact on the coverage, and it looks as though Northern Iowa will march it ahead 15 yards.
Yeah, I don't even think he needed to make contact. I think it was way overthrown. I think he panicked, and unfortunately if his head's looking back at the quarterback, it's probably not a penalty, but he kept looking at the DB the whole time and obviously fell on the back of his legs and got the call there. But that's a tough break there for the Cowboys, but moves the chains for a 4th down conversion here for the Panthers in the red zone.
The redshirt freshman Marky Grant, guilty of the infraction, and the 15-yard penalty gives Northern Iowa a new set of downs at the 25-yard line of Wyoming. Double tight end set. Meebert and Anderson both move into the backfield. Sheckelman with the handoff. A pickup of 4 yards. That was Bill Jackson, the redshirt senior, Tulsa transfer, originally from St. Louis, Missouri. And that puts Northern Iowa in business with a 2nd down and 6. We do apologize for the technical difficulties that our viewers at home may be experiencing here today. Get that cleaned up for you. Here at War Memorial Stadium, Nate Kreckman and Jared Petrino with you on the Mountain West Network. And hello to the folks up and down the Front Range watching this game on Altitude Television. Sheckelman back, plants his feet and hits his slot receiver J.C. Roque directly over the middle. A pickup of 7 and a 1st down, but there's a flag on the field, and we'll check the marker after Roque had 1st down yardage after that reception. An illegal motion is called on Northern Iowa.
Yeah, I think number 13 went in motion. I think he was on the ball and then went in motion, which you can't do. But Coach Stepsis is not excited about it. He said he was off the ball, but the official called him on the ball, and you can't go in motion when you're on the football. So they get good break for the Cowboys at making it a 2nd and long here.
2nd down and 11 yards to go. Wyoming's defense shutting out Akron last week. First shutout for this Wyoming football program since 2017 when they did it to Gardner Webb. Pistol formation, play action. Sheckelman back, loads up, fires. He finds his tight end, Derek Anderson, immediately brought down by Braden Johnson. And a gain of 4. It'll be a 3rd down and 7 as we'll check today's starters on the defensive side of the football for Wyoming, sponsored by Laramie Auto Center.
Yeah, excited about this group. We got a bunch of guys now, and now they're going to play even more guys. I think these starters can definitely be very interchangeable, which is something that Coach Bull is excited about this early on in this 2025 season.
Tice Westland on the edge. Look out for him delivering the pressure here on this 3rd down and 7 for Northern Iowa. Sheckelman looking for his tight end. It was incomplete. Aiden Price was the intended receiver, but it's broken up by that Wyoming secondary. It'll be a 4th down, and the field goal unit comes onto the field now for Northern Iowa.
Coach Bull dialed up some pressure. Great job by Boss there to jump the route. It's a little bit of slant route, trying to create a rub there in man coverage. Was able to not get rubbed by the inside receiver and make a great play on the ball, causing an incompletion, kicking off a field goal here for the Panthers.
40-yard attempt for Max Bardacek. And the kick is no good. So the Wyoming defense catches a break on the missed field goal, and they still have yet to allow a point scored so far this season. Wyoming 0, Northern Iowa 0. 5.5 minutes to go in the first quarter at War Memorial Stadium in Laramie. Max Barticek's 40-yard attempt wide right, and thus far in this opening quarter, Northern Iowa and Wyoming have traded off missed field goals to start off this football game, as we have got no score here in the first quarter. Nate Kreckman and Jared Petrino here with you in beautiful Laramie, Wyoming. Gorgeous day, 73 degrees and sunny for game number 1 here at home. Both these teams coming in at 1-0. Caden Anderson under center on a first down for Wyoming. Sam Scott breaks a tackle, gets up across the 35-yard line, pushes the pile ahead to the 39, 16 yards on the first down carry for Sam Scott, coming off a career day, 132 yards on the ground last week at Akron.
Yeah, Coach Tripodi had to get excited when he saw too high there. They came with a counter play to the boundary. Lot of running space there for Sam Sparks, and he broke a tackle to make it even longer run.
Gillenborg in motion to the inside. Play action. Anderson. He gets it over to Scott, leaking out of the backfield. Scott breaks one tackle up to the 45-yard line and a pickup of 7 on first down. First reception of the football season for Sam Scott, leading returning rusher for this Wyoming team. And thus far, he has really been one of the keys for this Wyoming offense here in 2025, as Jay Johnson loves what he brings. A bruising running back, Jared, at 230 pounds.
Absolutely. Fits the Wyoming character, the culture of what they want to have with the running back.
On a second down and 4. Bouncing to the outside, that's Max White. Flags all over the place after a first down carry for 9 yards. And it appears as though we'll tack on 15 yards on that carry for White, his first of the season, the grad student out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa.
Yeah, they were excited about it. He did a lot of good things in fall camp, ran the ball hard. Unfortunately, didn't get a lot of opportunities last week. But here he is out here, first big run, and obviously getting extended with the penalty. Yeah, it looked like it was number...
I think it was number 5, Fletcher Marshall on the outside, grabbed the face mask. And Wyoming is in business right now with a first down and 10 at the Northern Iowa 30-yard line.
And again, it hasn't been this between the 20s. It's right now where Wyoming's offense has got to step up and change some things that they have from last week and already from the first drive.
Anderson flips it outside Gillenborg. Gillenborg turns upfield, squares his shoulders inside the 20. 12 yards on the catch and run for John Michael Gillenborg. Already 2 catches in this opening quarter for the man they called J-Mike after he was limited to 3 catches on just 7 targets last week at Akron.
When you can run the football, it creates a lot of opportunities, and you're gashing them in the run game. You're able to get a play-action game. It ends up being very, very efficient for you.
Red zone opportunity now for Wyoming. Sam Scott bounces outside. Scott breaks a tackle, takes a dive for the pylon and gets into the end zone. Touchdown, Wyoming. Sam Scott, 18 yards, bouncing outside, squared up his shoulders, was able to break a tackle and find the end zone. Jared Petrino last week, it took until drive number 11 for Wyoming to score a touchdown. This week, they get it done on their second drive of the football game, and Sam Scott finds pay dirt.
Nate, this is the same play that was the very first play of the drive where he had a big run, ran the same play the other direction. Great job of the tackle getting out front and Gillenborg getting out front, and then Sam just doing everything else.
Sandvik on to tack on the extra point, and Wyoming on the board first. 7-0 our score with 3:26 left here in this first quarter. An 18-yard touchdown scamper from the senior out of Omaha, Nebraska, Sam Scott.
Cowboys get on the board with their first touchdown of this game on the second drive of the game. Great job of establishing the run game with play action, but this is just a great execution up front of getting a double team on the front side, getting King pulling around, Gillenborg pulling around. The receiver gets just enough of the safety. The corner is playing man coverage, chases the receiver in, and Sam Scott does a great job of breaking a tackle and getting inside the pylon there to put the first touchdown for the Cowboys here to get up a 7-0 lead here in the first quarter.
The first touchdown of the season for Sam Scott. You know, he had 29 carries last week, and Jared, the coaches said they want to get more guys involved in the run game. I mean, Max White and Sam Harris both have carries thus far, but you see why they're relying so heavily on Sam Scott.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't want to tackle that guy in the second level. He's just so efficient. He's been efficient his whole career here.
Ball kicked into the end zone. Touchback for Northern Iowa. First down and 10. Now from the 25-yard line, Northern Iowa in their opening drive. It resulted in a missed 40-yard field goal. Now they trail it 7-0 with 3:25 left here in this first quarter.
Be interesting to see what kind of adjustments the Cowboys make after that first drive. Northern Iowa did a good job of formation, doing a lot of trade shifts, a lot of formations their defense saw. You know, again, being able to settle down this defense with their eyes and be able to play sound defense, see how they attack this second drive against the Panthers.
Max Scheckelman was 4 of 5 on that opening drive, and in fact, 4 different receivers registered a catch. Blitz on the way up the middle, picked up by Northern Iowa, and Scheckelman hits his man across the middle. The reception by number 13, Tyson Kershaw, and 15 yards on first down as Kershaw was running free in the Wyoming secondary.
Yeah, they're expecting a lot of man coverage from the Cowboys. Cowboys played zone that time. Great job of Sheckelman putting the ball in the window there and getting a completion to move the chains.
So now on first down and 10 with the ball spotted just shy of the 40-yard line, Jackson Daly, the running quarterback, comes into the football game. He'll take the shotgun snap now for Northern Iowa. Fakes a pitch ahead to Roque. He'll keep it himself, and he gets tripped up across the 40.
Yeah, interesting. They're bringing in another running quarterback, being able to try to change the dynamic, trying to create adding another hat. One thing when you put a running quarterback in the game, the defense, you don't account for the quarterback in the run game. Now you got to when you put him in the game and able to get a 3-yard gain on first down. Desmond
Hearns came up to make the stop from his nickel cornerback position. Aaron Bull said Hearns was flying around last week. Loved the way that he played on the road at Akron. Price in motion, right to left. Sheckelman back in the game now, flush from the pocket, heavily pursued, and he is veered out of bounds by Isaiah Bogar. And no gain on the play. Third down and long coming up for Northern Iowa. That's exactly what Wyoming wants to do to this Panther attack.
Absolutely. Coach Bull came with a nice pressure there. Actually, you and I did a great job of picking it up. But Sheckelman was able to get out of the pocket and make it somewhat of a positive and not a negative play. Again, another big third down here for the Cowboy defense. Wanting an opportunity to get that ball, keep that ball back in their offense's hands here.
Line to gain is right at midfield at the 50-yard line. Tice Westland lined up on the left side for Wyoming. He'll drop back in coverage. Sheckelman is in trouble and hit and dropped. Sacked on the play by Andrew Johnson, the strong safety, blitzing, wrapping up Sheckelman and dropping him on third down and forcing the punt.
Bringing in more guys than they have to block. Andrew Johnson, a guy from Cheyenne, Wyoming, in-state guy. Obviously, you hear a bigger roar when you hear a Wyoming kid make a play out there in this stadium. But great job getting off the field on third down.
Dion DeBlanc back to receive this punt for Wyoming. Noah Pettinger, who missed last week with a hamstring injury, will do the punting end-over-end kick, and it bounces out of bounds in Wyoming territory.
Yeah, when Coach talked about him, I had a feeling we'd see Peppinger getting what punter doesn't want to come to 7,200 feet to come punt, pad those stats a little bit.
So Wyoming team finished a disappointing 3-9 last year. They went 2-5 in the Mountain West, and really the number that you circle right there, Jared, is they only scored 19 points per game. And in this conference with some of the high-flying offenses, you just flat out have to be able to put more points on the board. Injuries and attrition really were the challenge this year, but Jay Sawvell was able to load this team up in the portal. And this team has much higher hopes. They hope to get to a bowl game and challenge for a conference championship here in 2025. But a troubling start to this drive as Caden Anderson loses his footing back at the 20. A loss of 15 going in the wrong direction. It'll be a second down and 25 now for Wyoming.
Yeah, up top, just great pressure by 55 for the Panthers. Ostrowski. It's twice he's gotten in the backfield. Again, having a hard time at right tackle right now, protecting his front side, Rex Johnson. But that's twice he's gotten beat on an inside move early on in this game.
Ostrowski, another one of those Tulsa transfers. He has played at Wyoming before. So let's see what Coach Johnson has drawn up here on a second down and 25. And Caden Anderson will pull it down. And a short gain brings up third and forever here for Wyoming. And that brings us to the end of this first quarter. Wyoming with a third and long, but Wyoming also with a 7-0 lead. Second quarter is next here on the Mountain West Network. Get a look right there at Wyoming offensive coordinator Jay Johnson. He was a three-time All-Gateway Conference performer as a quarterback at Northern Iowa from 1990 to 1992. He was a captain of the Panthers as both a junior and a senior. And oh, by the way, his backup quarterback, Pro Football Hall of Famer Kurt Warner, who would take over as the starter in 1993. But remember, first he had to get the job from Jay Johnson, as we see Caden Anderson rolling right and connecting downfield with his wide receiver, Chris Durr, as they pick up 19 yards on a 3rd down and 22. It's a 4th down and 3, and the ball is spotted at the 43-yard line. And Jay Sawvell and Jay Johnson have elected to send the punting unit onto the field rather than take a shot at this 4th down and 2.
Yeah, just, that first down play just really puts a dagger on the drive. Again, they like their matchup right now on Wyoming's right tackle, number 70, Rex Johnson. He's been able to, whoever's going up against him has been able to win on inside moves. So unfortunately, just 3rd and 25 is not in the playbook.
Very nearly was, as Kyle Kupczynski lets the long snap fly, but we've got whistles and movement.
I think they took too much time. I think we might have a delay of game.
Wyoming punter is Bart Edmiston, a junior from Ocean Springs, Mississippi. 7 punts last week. Averaged 37.6 yards per boot. J.C. Roque is the punt returner for Northern Iowa, and he stands with his heels on the 17-yard line. Edmiston swings the right foot. Beautiful spiraling punt, but just a little too much thin air at 72-20. Bounces into the end zone, and it's a touchback now for Northern Iowa as Edmiston showing off the leg. However, we have another flag on the football field, and we'll get a word from our head referee, Cal McNeil, in the white hat today.
Yeah, Northern Iowa came with pressure right there and almost got home to get a piece of that.
On the spot to the right.
So with it being a post-kick penalty, they're still able to keep the ball in their hands. Now it's just going to be half the distance from the touchback. So ball on the 10-yard line, which is great for this Wyoming defense to start the Panthers back here this deep. They did flip the field, so that's a good call by Coach Sawvell.
So 1st down and 10 back at the 10-yard line now for Northern Iowa. Scored 38 points in their opener last week on the road at Butler, and great balance. 235 yards through the air, 213 on the ground. Their quarterback Matthew Sheckelman. Hand off to the back, Bill Jackson, and Jackson turns up on the right hash marks. He is upended by the linebacker Braden Johnson after a gain of 4 on 1st down.
Yeah, UNI is really attacking the perimeter of Wyoming's defense, trying to get the run game outside. You haven't seen a lot between the tackles. Obviously, they didn't have a lot of success in that first drive, but they're really looking to attack the perimeter of the Wyoming defense in that run game.
Braden Johnson, the transfer from Oklahoma Baptist. Aaron Bowles said they were looking for size and length in the portal, and they were able to bring him up from the Division II level, and he is an absolute load as the Wyoming defense comes up with another big-time play. And once again, it's coming from the line backing unit, but we got a flag on the field. The handoff to Jackson, and Evan Eller wrapped him up immediately. We'll check the flag.
Holding, number 98, defense. 10 yards from the previous spot. Automatic 1st down.
Tough penalty there for Wyoming as Jaden Williams is dinged for the infraction, the sophomore from Bryan, Texas.
That's a big call right there, calling defensive holding off on a negative play. It was going to make it 3rd and long. The umpire calls a defensive tackle for holding the offensive lineman so the linebacker could run through.
After the penalty spot, the Panthers 1st and 10 from the 23-yard line.
It's always a tough call. Yeah, it's a tough call on the D lineman because all they're trying to do is play the O lineman. I don't know if it's guaranteed a hold or not, but we'll see.
Fresh set of downs now for Northern Iowa. Bay Bowie on the reception, leaking out of the backfield, up across the
Shuckleman's pass
30-yard
complete to number
line.
32.
And a pickup
Harrison
of
Bay Bowie.
9 yards. We'll check the spot to see if they move the chains. And indeed, the chain gang is on the move. So first down yardage on that first down reception.
Northern Iowa came out with some tempo there right out of the huddle. They still huddled, but they lined up fast and snapped it fast and kind of caught Wyoming off guard there, and they got leverage on the edge right away.
First down and 10 now with Northern Iowa on the move at the 34. Sheckelman on play action, connects with his receiver downfield. That was Graham Fredrickson on the catch, 21 yards and into Wyoming territory, as Sheckelman is starting to find a rhythm right now, Jared.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I talked about the tempo. They're coming out and snapping the ball really fast, so Wyoming can't dissect everything and communicate everything, but a nice little play action with some over routes, a good man coverage beater to move the chains for the Panthers.
Ball spotted at the 44-yard line of Wyoming. Bay Bowie on the right hip of Matthew Sheckelman. The give is to Bay Bowie, and he is wrapped up. Short gain, Ben Florentine among others on the stop.
I think it's safe to say that Bogar has made a name for himself already in this first quarter and a half of this game. He's been everywhere making plays in the backfield. Excited to see this guy play, and great job by Florentine. He's just a tough guy to tackle. They're having a hard time running the ball between the tackles right now. That's why you see so much perimeter run game.
Yeah, Todd Steps has called Florentine an Aaron Donald type guy. Shuckerman on play action, rolling to his right, dumps it off to his receiver, Kershaw, but he is immediately dropped. It'll be a third down and long. Now coming up here for Northern Iowa.
Great job by Miller coming from. He's got to follow that guy all the way across the formation, follows him all the way around, makes the play on the other side for really a no gain, creating a 3rd and 9 here for the Cowboy defense.
Yeah, Danesis Miller, the 5'10" transfer from Mercer, originally from Fairburn, Georgia, coming up and making the stop. 3rd down and 10. Big opportunity for this Wyoming defense to crank up the pass rush. Jackson the motion man. Sheckelman finds Jackson leaking out of the backfield, but he is taken down at the 40. A flag comes out. It was Miller coming up to make the stop after the pickup of 3, but we'll hear from Cal McNeil on the penalty marker.
I just don't know what this penalty could be.
After the play, personal foul, late hit, number 6 defense. 15 yards added to the end of the run. Automatic first down.
Huh. I didn't see that live. They got to check the replay and see where that came from. That looked like a clean tackle, got him to the ground. Obviously, Eller's just pursuing the football. But that's 2 third down, 2 defensive penalties that have gotten first downs for the Panthers in this drive.
Penalty was called on Evan Eller coming up to make the stop. The officials determined that he arrived late. And a huge opportunity now for Northern Iowa on the doorstep of the Wyoming red zone. Inside handoff to Bay Bowie on first down. We'll go back and check that penalty.
See a great tackle here by Miller. Wraps him up. Ooh. That's a tough
Wow.
call. That's a tough call. Tough call for the Cowboy defense to see how they can respond with adversity here in the red zone here and trying to hold them to a field goal.
Pickup of 3 for Bay Bowie on first down. Bay Bowie on the right hip of the quarterback, redshirt junior Matthew Shackleton out of Appleton, Wisconsin. Sheckelman in rhythm, over the middle, complete to Fredrickson, and a pickup of 6. It'll be a 3rd down and short now with the ball spotted at the 16-yard line of Wyoming.
Northern Iowa coming in with Daly again at quarterback. 3rd and short here, trying to create some QB run game possibly against the Cowboys here for this 3rd and short.
9 new starters on this Wyoming defense. Last week at Akron, a total of 22 players saw the field. They face a critical 3rd down and short. Daly will keep, and he'll pick up the first down inside the 15-yard line. gets 4 yards on a 3rd down and 1. It's a 1st down and 10 with Northern Iowa right on the doorstep now, trailing 7-0 midway through this 2nd quarter.
Yeah, nothing pretty about that one. That was just QB power plus. They're going to pull the guard around. They're going to lead the back up. You know, a guy that wore number 15 for Florida made that play pretty popular back in the day.
Jackson Daly, the transfer from Arkansas State. He's been getting those sort of power run snaps so far in this one. And Northern Iowa runs up the gut once again. Nothing pretty about that. And a pickup of 2 on 1st down. Harrison Bay Bowie on the carry. Appeared in just 2 games last year at Northern Iowa due to injury. Last week, 12 carries, 81 yards, and a touchdown in the victory over Butler at the Unidome in Cedar Falls.
Wyoming's defense right now, they're thinking field goal or takeaway right here. That's what they want to get done. They created a nice job on 1st down. Now they've got to keep stacking plays.
Now on 2nd and 9, Sheckelman looks, puts it up for the end zone. Incomplete to Fredrickson, but there was contact all over the place, and the flags fly as Danesis Miller was in coverage. He went to the ground. And we'll check the flag, but it appears as though Northern Iowa will march this one halfway to the goal line.
Yeah, again, it looks like 19 was the one that pushed him
20,
down.
defense.
And Dancis looked like he was looking back for the ball to go make a pick, and then the receiver ran him over, and so it's a tough call again. Now that's 3 first downs by penalties alone for the UNI offense on this drive.
Yeah, without question, it was Fredrickson that initiated the contact, really lowered his shoulder and just kind of bowled over Danesis Miller. But this sets Northern Iowa up now with a 1st and goal at the 2-yard line.
Northern Iowa going very heavy right now, personnel-wise.
Sheckelman under center, 3 in the backfield. The handoff, Bay Bowie, and Bay Bowie steamrolls his way ahead into the end zone. Touchdown, Northern Iowa. 7-6 football game with a PAT pending. A 2-yard touchdown run by Harrison Bay Bowie.
Yeah, they just went heavy. I think they brought in some D tackles in there, extra O-linemen. They lead up, and Bay Bowie's just got more. They got more bodies than Wyoming does, and able to get the yards needed.
Barticek on attack on the PAT for Northern Iowa. That is up and it is good. First points allowed here in 2025 by Aaron Bowles' Wyoming Cowboy defense. 7:26 to go, first half. We're tied at 7.
On today's games, just tell Siri, show me Mountain West football scores. Want the latest on today's games? Just tell Siri, show me Mountain West football scores.
7-7 our score. Wyoming and Northern Iowa. Rules changed last year, permits the use of sideline technology. As a result, teams from the Mountain West are excited to be using iPad Pro and iPad Air to review multiple angles of in-game film so coaches and players can make real-time adjustments, allowing athletes to compete at the highest level. Blake Pankratz to kick off now for Northern Iowa. Sidewinding kick bounces into the end zone and a touchback. And of course, in a non-conference affair, both home and away teams will have iPad access to ensure competitive balance on the playing field. But very cool, this use of technology from the Mountain West this year. Multiple video angles available on the iPad, allowing coaches and players to see what is happening on the field. It will also benefit medical staffs, allowing them to review video to more quickly and accurately identify and treat injuries. 1st and 10 at the 25-yard line. Northern Iowa putting together an 11-play, 90-yard drive to even the game up at 7, capped by a 2-yard touchdown run by Harrison Bay Bowie. The give is to Sam Scott. Scott pulls away from one tackler, gets up across the 35 and picks up a first down, a pickup of 12 on the first carry of this drive for Wyoming.
Same play as the touchdown play, but this has got to be frustrating as a defensive coordinator. They had 2 guys there to make the play, but Sam Scott just made a miss and able to move the chains for a first down.
Jared, going back to that Northern Iowa drive, 90-yard drive, 35 of those yards coming via the penalty, via 3 penalties against the Wyoming defense. And on first down, we got a whistle and movement up front.
Gosh, that's too bad. That play looked really, really good when they were about ready to snap that.
Ball start, offense. All 11 players were not set prior to the snap. 5-yard penalty, remain first down.
The old everyone but the center there, Jared.
Yeah, tough right now. It's really the Cowboys are beating themselves right now. They're doing good things. They're making plays, but they're hurting themselves, and they're not beating. And UNI is taking advantage of them so far.
Nathan Geiger, Wes King, Jack Walsh, Caden Barnett, Rex Johnson. The 5 across the front for Wyoming on a first down now and 15 with the ball at the 31-yard line. Pistol formation. Anderson turns, gives, and a minimal gain on first down for Scott.
Tried to work the edge into the boundary, thought they had some leverage there, but good job by UNI's defense of pursuing of the football and knocking that thing down for almost a no gain, creating a 2nd and 14 here for the Wyoming Cowboy offense.
6th carry of the football game for Scott. So far, 10 runs and 8 throws for the Wyoming offense here in this second quarter. Caden Anderson sees pressure, sidesteps the rusher, lets it fly, and it's incomplete, well over the head of Chris Durr. It'll be a 3rd down now and 14, a 3rd and very long situation coming up here for Wyoming. And Jared, I have a feeling one of the main talking points at halftime for Wyoming is going to be about the penalties, really on both sides of the football.
No question, it's been a thorn in their side. They haven't been able to get any type of rhythm on offense when these penalties happen, but no offense can. So they got to do a better job of just playing within themselves and being patient.
2 receivers split wide to the left. Gillenborg is the motion man. Anderson was looking for Durr. The throw was behind him, incomplete. And a 3 and out is put together by the Wyoming offense. They'll punt the football back to Northern Iowa.
Yeah, had a good play design there, had a chance, but the linebacker did a good job of getting enough hands on Chris Durr. He stumbled out of his break and unfortunately wasn't able to accelerate off that break. And I think Caden threw the ball based on his speed, and unfortunately Chris stumbled out of that break.
Bart Edmiston sent to punt now for Wyoming after the 3 and out. Good boot. Backs up Roque, and a fair catch is called for at the 14-yard line. Wyoming 7, Northern Iowa 7. Panther football when we return. Tied at 7 here in the second quarter. This is actually the second ever meeting between Northern Iowa and Wyoming. The first one, the 11th of September, 1993 here at War Memorial Stadium. The starting quarterback that day for Northern Iowa was Kurt Warner. When he left that game with an injury, a pick six from Wyoming linebacker Corey Talich. Wyoming would go on to win that game 45-42. Jared Petrino, the two-time All-American. Ryan Yarborough caught the winning touchdown that day for Wyoming. The Pokes would go 8-4 that year under Joe Tiller on their way to a share of the WAC championship. And an excellent start for the Wyoming defense to this drive. Ben Florentine with the sack. Back inside the 10-yard line. And that's the second sack of the season for Florentine.
Great job by Florentine. He was able to get the edge by going through the B gap, which is big time when you can do that. Last time Sheckelman got out of this time Florentine does not allow him to get out of the pocket and is able to get a big play to start this drive.
Fifth-year senior from Anaheim. The UNI staff was really keying on Florentine. They said they needed to know where he was. Well, Matthew Sheckelman figured out where he was on that one. This time, Sheckelman throwing from his own end zone. Wide of his intended target, Anderson. Evan Eller providing the coverage here for Wyoming. And now a 3rd down and 20 with the ball spotted at the 5-yard line. And let's see what Aaron Bull and the Wyoming defense can dial up here on a 3rd and forever for UNI.
Yeah, Coach Bowles came with pressure on these 3rd down situations earlier so far this game. Looks like they only got 3 down linemen. Looks like they're going to play coverage, play soft, and try to knock everything down in front of them. We'll see what happens.
Florentine lined up in the middle of that Wyoming defense. Sheckelman rolling right from his own end zone. Lets it fly deep right side. It goes out of bounds and falls harmlessly incomplete. And the punting unit will come on for Northern Iowa, as Noah Pettinger will be booting the ball away from just in front of his own goalpost.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's got into the win. You know, you talk about coaches, they always talk about winning the middle 8. Well, here's the middle 8. The last 4 minutes of the first half, the first 4 minutes of the second half. Wyoming's got a great opportunity with a punt right now to get good field position to try to win the middle 8 to set themselves up for it.
Dion DeBlanc standing just inside midfield for Wyoming, and a shank of a kick. Bounces shy of the 40-yard line and rolls out of bounds at the 46. A great opportunity now for this Wyoming offense, which is stalled out in the second quarter, as they will have excellent field position starting on the Northern Iowa half of the football field in a 7-7 game.
Absolutely. Great field position to start this thing. I'd be curious to see if Coach Johnson tries to dial up a quick one shot right here. Sometimes when offensive coordinators like to take a shot, go play action, try to get something over the top and try to get a big play to get this offense going in the crowd behind him.
Pettinger missed last week's game with a hamstring injury. Actually, the backup linebacker Colvin Miller did the punting last week for Northern Iowa. And Pettinger was clearly frustrated right there. 40 yards on the punt. And on first down, it's a bubble screen outside to Chris Durr. And Durr provides a stiff arm before getting pushed out of bounds. 6 yards on the catch and run for Chris Durr, coming off a 7-catch, 146-yard performance last week on the road at Akron.
Man, as you're a D coordinator and you get the ball, you see someone, you're playing against Chris Durr, you just got to hold your breath when he gets that ball in his hands and just get him down. Great job blocking out in front, getting a good 6-7 yard gain on first down for the Cowboys.
Second catch of this opening half now for Chris Durr. On second down, inside handoff, Teron Kelman with the carry. Kelman in his first year at Wyoming, the junior out of Clinton, Maryland. And he picks up 4 and gets the first down. A fresh set of downs now coming up for Wyoming with the ball spotted at the 35-yard line of UNI.
Yeah, back-to-back plays, same formation, same motion, and creating matchups, making UNI have to tip their hand on where they want to go with the football, running it or throwing this quick screen to Chris Durr on the first play.
Anderson under center, turns, gives, Kelman, room to run, Kelman Finally taken down inside the 20-yard line, 17 yards on the first down carry for Teron Kelman, who ran for over 500 yards the last 2 seasons at Charlotte.
Great job sealing the edge on the top side. Now Wyoming's going tempo here.
And a quick dump is outside. That's caught for Wyoming by Justin Erb, the tight end out of Wakefield, Nebraska. First reception of the game for Erb. And 10 yards, puts the ball down inside the 10-yard line. A first and goal now coming up for Wyoming as they have found their rhythm on this drive, Jared Petrino.
Absolutely. When you can run the football, good things happen. They went with tempo there and got you and I staring in the backfield and was able to get a little misdirection to the tight end in the flat.
Kelman, the lone setback. He'll take the give, and he is wrapped up and dropped for a loss. Caleb Frazier came up to make the stop. Loss of 1, pushes the ball back to the 10. It's now a second down and goal.
Yeah, Coach Johnson came back to the same play with the big run. Came back to it. Great job by the linebacker, able to duck underneath the pulling guard on the front side and able to make that play.
Actually, correction. We got a third down and short now coming up.
Looks like we got a little wildcat out here.
Evan Svoboda takes the snap, and Svoboda veering left, and he goes down and points ahead as Svoboda picks up first down yardage on a pickup of 3 on the carry. Evan Svoboda, the former Wyoming quarterback, takes that direct snap and picks up the first down. By the way, Jared, big week for Evan Svoboda, as was reported on the Fat, Fatter, and Fattest podcast, hosted by the Wyoming offensive line. Svoboda newly engaged this week. We hit the 2-minute timeout. First and goal coming up now for Wyoming with 2 minutes to go in this opening half. Out of the 2-minute timeout, what's coming up at the half? Well, you'll see a pair of Cowboys offensive linemen who made the Mountain West top 5 preseason list. We'll update you on the renovations to War Memorial Stadium as they're restoring the war. We'll take a look at today's first half highlights and stats. 7-7 game, first down and goal for Wyoming. Ball spotted at the left hash mark. Caden Anderson is the quarterback. Claps his hands, gives to Samuel Tote Harris on an inside handoff, and Harris with a jump cut, and he gets down near the 5-yard line. That'll be a second down and goal after a pickup of 2.
Big situation. You know, Coach Havell talked about offensively they didn't play good enough offense in situational football. Well, you get the ball inside the 10-yard line. It's a big situation for it to get 7. You don't want to walk away with 3 here, so let's see how well they can execute and finish this drive off in the end zone.
Line of scrimmage is the 6 for Caden Anderson. Anderson now in shotgun with Harris on his left hip. Sargent the man in motion. Anderson back, surveys, throws, caught, touchdown, John Michael Gillenborg, his first of 2025, a 6-yard scoring strike, Anderson to Gillenborg, and Wyoming is back on top.
Starts off with great protection. Great job by the offensive line. Great job by Caden Anderson sitting in the pocket. They try to run a mesh concept. They're expecting man coverage. Well, guess what? Northern Iowa plays a lot of zone. Plays zone right here, and Gillenborg is just wide open, sitting in the middle of the field. But again, it starts with that great protection by the O-line.
Anderson with all day. Gillenborg left far too open. Sandvik adds the point after. And Wyoming reclaims the lead at 14-7 after an 8-play, 45-yard drive, capped by a 6-yard scoring strike. Anderson to John Michael Gillenborg.
Looks like, Nate, on the extra point, we have a flag. I don't know if it's after the play. Looks like a little extracurricular activity, maybe some talking. Don't know which side it's on. We'll find out here pretty shortly.
Referee Cal McNeil.
After the play, personal foul, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 52 of the kicking team. 15 yards was assessed on the kickoff.
So that was called.
That's on the long snapper.
The long snapper Carson York with an unsportsmanlike conduct call. You know, only 7 penalties last week at Akron. Already in this first half, that is the 8th flag against Wyoming here today.
Well, not only that, Nate, there's a minute and 13 seconds left. Now you're kicking off from 15 yards farther back. Northern Iowa's got 2 timeouts left, and now they got a chance. Now they might have went from taking a knee and getting this thing to the break, knowing they have the ball coming out of half, but now they're looking at it as, wow, we could get some field position here and maybe get some more points on the board before the break.
So a little bit of momentum gifted back to Northern Iowa. It's been an efficient first half for Caden Anderson, completing 69% of his passes. He is 9 of 13 for 97 yards, and that touchdown, his 2nd of the season and the first to the Mackey Award watch list tight end, preseason watch list tight end, John Michael Gillenborg. Kickoff is caught and brought up across the 30-yard line for Northern Iowa. That was Quincy Morris on the return for UNI in a 28-yard return.
We'll see right here, +6 now. They got basically +6.
November 22nd, that man, the reigning most valuable player in the National Football League, Josh Allen, will have his number retired here at War Memorial Stadium. That's right, number 17 will be commemorated forever here at Wyoming. Josh Allen, 2 phenomenal seasons as the starting quarterback here at the University of Wyoming. And he will be enshrined with a retired number coming up on the 22nd of November against the University of Nevada. Short gain on first down, a pickup of 4 on the catch by Bay Bowie. Jared, the word from our friends here at the University of Wyoming, they moved 7,000 tickets in 4 hours after the announcement that Josh Allen's number would be retired coming up on November 22nd.
Not surprised at all.
Inside the final minute of the first half, and an incompletion on 2nd down and 6. Aiden Price, the intended target from Matthew Scheckelman. Also coming up at halftime, the new class of Wyoming Hall of Famers will be honored here at War Memorial Stadium, including several alums from Wyoming football. Jared, your old friend Casey Bramlett will be honored at halftime here today.
Yeah, awesome for Casey. I live with the same town, work out with Casey every day. Awesome person, along with John Wendling, a safety from Rock Springs, Wyoming. 2 awesome Wyoming natives going to the Hall of Fame. Not just Wyoming players, but Wyoming natives.
Daly in a quarterback on a 3rd down and 6. He'll keep, and he'll get stacked up short of the 40-yard line. The Wyoming defense gets this stop, a pickup of 3 on 3rd down and 6.
Coach Savell is calling a timeout here with Peppinger's struggles kicking the football right now. I could see why UNI wanted to run the ball there. They wanted him to burn a timeout, maybe pop one for a first down, but they definitely did not want to have Wyoming not have to at least burn a timeout. But now with Peppinger's, with his struggles so far in this game of shanking some kicks, it'd be interesting to see what ends up happening. Looks like they're going to try out the punt team right here again. Are they going to go for a block or try to set up a return? They talked about all fall camp how much they really like DeBlanc returning punts. Maybe this is one shot right here. And Wyoming still has 2 timeouts too, so.
Deion DeBlanc standing back at the 20-yard line. Pettinger takes the snap and the punt's blocked. And it is brought down by Wyoming. And the Pokes are in business with the football. The punt was blocked by Wyoming. It'll be a 1st and 10 in UNI territory. There is a flag on the field. Bryson Brantley came down with the football.
Jaden DeCosta, the transfer from Portland State, was the one that got his hand on the football. I'll be curious to see what this penalty is.
Illegal formation on the kicking team. That penalty declined. The result of play is reception by the receiving team. The ball be placed at the forward progress spot. First down, Wyoming.
That's just a great job of DeCosta making a play. You know, a lot of times you see guys get there and they put their hands up, and they're never going to block a punt by putting your hands up. He does a great job of putting his hands down, getting a piece of that ball. This is a huge momentum. We talked about winning the middle 8. Shoot, Wyoming was happy just getting 7. Now they have a chance to get 3 or maybe 7 more here.
26 seconds on the clock. Scoreboard shows Wyoming with all 3 timeouts. Line of scrimmage at 34. Anderson back, pump fake, looking deep, has time. Flag flies, throws it away, and we'll check the penalty marker.
They were trying to do a little screen and go. You know, Chris Durr was getting a lot of attention. They tried to get John Michael Gillenborg on a screen and go. Good job by.
The quarterback was out of the pocket and made a pass beyond the line of scrimmage. Also on the play is holding, number 86 offense. 10-yard penalty, replace first down.
9th penalty of the first half on Wyoming. That was on Evan Svoboda, who converted that critical 3rd down in the last touchdown drive for Wyoming.
Now with 2 timeouts and 19 seconds, we'll see what we can do here, getting the ball into field goal range for Sandvik to kick a field goal before the half.
Sargent split wide to the right. Durr slot right. Now he'll motion right to left. Anderson catches the high snap. Has time. Looks. He'll dump it down to Gillenborg. Gillenborg makes one-man miss, and he veers out of bounds at the 30-yard line, stopping the clock with 12 seconds remaining there in the first half.
Great job, great protection again. Caden Anderson finds patience, sees John Michael Gillenborg out in the flat, makes one guy miss. Able to get a lot of that penalty yardage back, making it 2nd and 7 here. And they got the ball in the correct hash, because Coach talked about middle right hash where Sandvik has got his best numbers during fall camp.
4th catch of the opening half for Gillenborg. Anderson gives. That's Harris, and Harris is stacked up down inside the 25-yard line, and he picks up the first down, and clock will stop, and timeout will be called here by Wyoming, with the ball now spotted at the 22, well, between the 23 and the 22 of Northern Iowa.
I think Coach Sawvell's going to let it tick a couple more ticks, then call timeout, and so to make sure that he's got the last play before the half.
So with exactly 1 second remaining on the clock, they'll bring out the kicker Eric Sandvik, who is 0 for 1 so far here today kicking field goals. And this will be a 40-yard attempt for Sandvik on the final play of this first half, and a chance for Wyoming to make it a 2-score game going into the break.
Yeah, again, this is a very similar situation before the end of the half. Coach didn't know if it was a first down out in Akron. This time he knew it was a first down, so he let him wind the clock and get some more time off the clock, and they able to get this big old team in here for one last play here before half.
The kick from Sandvik is up, plenty of distance, and that's good. So Wyoming will take a 10-point lead into the halftime locker room after the 40-yard field goal from Eric Sandvik out of Steamboat Springs, Colorado. 17-7 is our score at the break. We're going to talk to Jay Sawvell. He'll be putting on the headset coming up here in just a moment. But a casual swing of the right leg by Sandvik has put Wyoming up by 2 scores, 17-7. Caden Anderson with a touchdown to John Michael Gillenborg in the second quarter as well has Wyoming up by 10. And let's go down and let's talk to the head coach of the Cowboys, Jay Sawvell. And coach, penalties have certainly been an issue. There's been some mistakes, but you got to be pleased with that end of the half from your football team. The touchdown by Gillenborg, and then the 3 points, the big time play on special teams with the block punt.
Yeah, I mean the end of the half was really good. There's a couple things we've got to clean up penalty wise, and then there's a couple other things kind of questionable a little bit, but we just got to keep playing, and we got to have a far better second half than the first.
Coach, you always talk about winning the middle 8. That's a great jump start of winning the middle 8. Now coming out, you'll come out on defense. What do you got to do to get started, get this second half started for you guys?
A big piece of it is they're doing what we expected, where they're trying to bleed a lot of clock and keep the ball in play and shorten the game down. And we got to get some lost yardage plays, and we got to get them off schedule. And so that way we can get the ball back and play on offense, because I think we were in a good rhythm offensively.
Awesome. Thanks,
Coach, thank you. Good luck in the second half.
Thank you very much.
All right, Jay Sawvell joining us right there. His Wyoming Cowboys up 17-7 here at the break. Coming up at the half, we're going to check on a pair of Cowboys O-linemen who made the Mountain West top 5 preseason list. That's coming up next. It's Wyoming 17, Northern Iowa 7 at the break at War Memorial Stadium in Laramie. A beautiful Saturday on the Mountain West Network. Welcome back to halftime here in Laramie. A pair of Cowboys made the Mountain West preseason poll for the top offensive linemen in the conference. Here's a look at the top 5 from that list, as described by the radio broadcast announcers from each respective school.
Number 5.
Pacetti Lapuaho, San Jose State.
Offensive tackle Pacetti Lapuahu is a 6'4", 285-pound senior. He was a 13-game starter for San Jose State in 2024, and that offensive line only allowed 12 sacks on the year, which was 9th in the country. This offseason, Pacetti added strength and speed in the weight room. Combine that with the
Welcome back to halftime here in Laramie. A pair of Cowboys made the Mountain West preseason poll for the top offensive linemen in the conference. Here's a look at the top 5 from that list, as described by the radio broadcast announcers from each respective school.
Lapuaho, San Jose State.
Offensive tackle Paseti Lapuaho is a 6'4", 285-pound senior. He was a 13-game starter for San Jose State in 2024, and that offensive line only allowed 12 sacks on the year, which was 9th in the country. This offseason, Passetti added strength and speed in the weight room. Combine that with the instruction from San Jose State O-line coach John Estes, and you have an offensive tackle that could be one of the best in the Mountain West Conference.
Number 4.
Mason Randolph, Boise State.
Mason Randolph was named preseason All-Mountain West offensive lineman after being injured much of last season. He was hurt in the first game at Georgia Southern, but battled back to rejoin the team in November down the stretch. He is a returning starter from 2 years ago as well, and is a veteran at center that should give Boise State a very good offensive line again this season.
Number 3.
Caden Barnett, Wyoming.
We've talked about players that Jay Savell wanted to keep around in Laramie, and Caden Barnett is another one of those at the top of this list. Like Jack Welsh, he's making the move along the offensive line. He's moving to right guard. Savell said on the first day of practice he doesn't want to move him back to tackle. He wants to develop those tackles. They need him at guard. That is his spot. He's preseason All-Mountain West as well. He's a veteran presence along that offensive line. He'll have 35 games under his belt when he makes his first start at Akron in August. Also of note, him and Jack Walsh, along with Wes King, they host the Fat, Fatter, and Fattest podcast, which has kind of taken the Mountain West by storm. It's a good listen if you get a chance to. They have a lot of fun, but Caden Barnett, part of that really good offensive line for the Cowboys.
Number 2.
Jack Walsh, Wyoming.
Well, Jack Walsh is a jack of all trades, so to speak. He is now moved to center, which means he will be having played every single position on the offensive line for the Wyoming Cowboys in his career. So making the move to center, he is the anchor of this offensive line. Recently named an Outland Trophy watch list candidate. He was second team All-Mountain West in 2024, preseason All-Conference this year for an offensive line that is going to be pretty good. How about this? Over 650 snaps played last year. He did not allow a sack. Jack Walsh, the anchor of one of the best offensive lines that could be in the Mountain West this year.
Number 1.
Cage Casey, Boise State.
Gage Casey was first team All-Conference last year and was picked as a preseason selection this year. He's expected to move on eventually to the NFL and be another one of the great Bronco linemen in the professional league. He's going to lead 4 returning starters blocking for Maddox Madsen, as well as the Bronco running game. A lot is expected of Cage Casey. He might even be the best player on the team.
Coming up next, we'll take a look at some of the renovations happening here at War Memorial Stadium. That's next, here at halftime at the University of Wyoming in Laramie.
Welcome back to War Memorial Stadium here in Laramie. Nate Kreckman and Jared Petrino, and we're very pleased to be joined here at halftime by Tyson Drew. He is the Senior Associate Athletic Director of Facilities and Events here at the University of Wyoming. And Tyson, this is a really exciting day here at War Memorial Stadium because the talk of the offseason has been restoring the war, the renovations to War Memorial Stadium. It's been an ongoing process. How proud are you guys with an opportunity to be able to unveil all of this here today?
It's a great day for us. I mean, today we started the 75th anniversary of War Memorial Stadium. Couldn't be a better day with all the renovations to showcase this stadium and open it up to our fans today.
Tyson, talk about where you guys are at right now currently in the process with the, last year you had some of it, this year you had some of it. Talk about where you're at in the process now with the renovation.
Yeah, so construction started after the 2023 season. So last year we went through an entire season with construction, and you're seeing some pictures up here of our new Lowe's seating area. But we're still not complete. We have I'd probably say about 95% complete. Still probably after the Utah game is when we plan on having everything finished for our fans.
Tyson, how much of a focus was it as you guys went through this process to really focus on the fan experience for Cowboy fans?
I mean, that was the majority of it. If you look at our lower west concourse now, we have a brand new team store for our fans to visit on game days and buy apparel from the Brown and Gold outlet. We have new concessions options, 3 brand new concession stands. We're able to bring in food trucks on game days for our fans. And then just the premium seating, the loge seats, the club area. The whole renovation was driven for our fans.
You look at in the time you've been here, you have the high altitude training facility, you have the arena auditorium renovation, you have the war renovation, and you're building a brand new swimming pool. Just talk about the investment UW Athletics has put into facilities in your tenure here at
Wyoming. I mean, you touched on all of it. We've renovated our basketball arena, the High Altitude Performance Center, which is a student athlete village for our students. They can get all their food, training, sports medicine, academics, all in that facility. And then, as you mentioned, the new pool. We're in the middle of a construction project for our aquatic center. It's going to be a 50-meter pool with a dive tower. That's scheduled to be finished April of this coming year, 2026. So,
awesome.
Yep. Nothing but first class here at Wyoming. Tyson Drew. Tyson, great job on the renovations. Stadium looks great. TV booth looks great, by the way. Yep. Senior Associate Athletic Director at the University of Wyoming, Tyson Drew. The Pokes up 17-7 at the break. Sam Scott and the Cowboys leading it 17-7. Get your stats and highlights next. 17-7 here at the break. Take a look at the first half highlights. Sam Scott, an 18-yard touchdown scamper to put Wyoming on the board first, but Northern Iowa would answer with an 11-play, 90-yard touchdown drive capped by a 2-yard dive into the end zone by Harrison Bay Bowie. Caden Anderson connecting with John Michael Gillenborg for his 7th career touchdown here at the University of Wyoming. And then the block punt leading to a 40-yard field goal for Eric Sandvik just before the break. 17-7, Wyoming on top here in Laramie. Here's a look at today's Town and Country Supermarket Liquors halftime stats. Jared Petrino, what jumps off the page at you?
Well, obviously the penalties got to be a big asterisk there for the Cowboys. Obviously, you look at 90 yards in offense in one half. I think Coach is looking to just come out and make a clean second half. Don't hurt themselves, but done a great job of balance. 111 yards passing, 89 yards rushing, and I think there's still a lot left out there that they think going into that half.
2-score lead for Wyoming as we get set to bring you the second half. When we come back, Pokes on top, 17-7 in Laramie. The only question you can ask on Gold Out Day at War Memorial Stadium, is there a pot of gold at the end of the beer snake? Wyoming on top 17-7 over Northern Iowa as we get set to get the second half underway. Nate Kreckman and Jared Petrino, along with our outstanding Mountain West Network crew here this afternoon. As Bart Edmiston puts his right foot into the football, and it's a touchback. 1st and 10 coming up for Northern Iowa. Great ceremony at halftime as a new class was inducted into the 2025 Wyoming Intercollegiate Athletics Hall of Fame, including 3 notable Wyoming football alums: John Wendling, Casey Bramlett, and a guy by the name of Josh Allen, whose parents were actually here today to accept Josh's honor. Also in that Hall of Fame class, Kurt Jimerson, who played basketball in the early 60s. Hugh Loam, a wrestler back in the 60s as well here at Wyoming. Mike Mulvaney and Lori Klein Waddell, women's basketball player in the early 80s. And let's take a look at Wyoming legend Casey Bramlett, one of the great quarterbacks in program history.
Absolutely. Obviously, the stats, the numbers speak for themselves. But, being from a small town of Wheatland, Wyoming, coming to Laramie, and playing during a tough time. He's the last quarterback in 2003. He was the last quarterback to beat BYU and CSU in the same season. And around here, those are pretty big accolades. No one likes those guys around here.
On a 2nd down and 5, Matthew Sheckelman stops, throws in and out of the hands of the intended receiver, Aiden Price. Coverage provided by Marky Grant. Take another look at that entire Hall of Fame class. Mike Mulvaney, the slugging first baseman. You see his name right there for that Wyoming baseball program. And don't forget, on the 22nd of November, Josh Allen's number 17 will be retired. Said this week it'll actually be his first trip back to War Memorial since his pro day in 2018. Critical 3rd down now. Roque, the motion man for Northern Iowa. Sheckelman stops, throws, and finds his wideout, Tyson Kershaw. 7 yards on a 3rd down and 5, and the Panthers move the chains.
Yeah, nice play design by UNI's offense. They did a good job of a little bit of a man beater, able to get the motion guy out there to the flat, wanted to go to his guy to the flat, and they overran it. Corner wasn't able to sink in and was able to complete the pass for a 1st down.
118 players on this UNI roster, 70 athletes coming from the great state of Iowa under first-year head coach Todd Stepsis. 1st down and 10 with the ball spotted at the 36. That's Jackson Daly on the field, and he is met in the hole and dropped.
It's got to be, Coach Thompson, the offensive coordinator for Northern Iowa. It's got to be his answer of trying to get some run game action between the tackles, is bringing in Daly and getting that +1 run game with the quarterback and trying to see if he can create a spark there. Again, great job by the Wyoming defense of standing tough. They've kind of seen it. They've made some adjustments at halftime and able to knock it for just a 2-yard gain.
That was Lucas Samsula on the stop. His 3rd year at Wyoming, missed all of last year with injury, but came back at a big sack in the 4th quarter last week in the win at Akron. On 2nd down, inside handoff, short gain. Hearns came up to make the stop, and a pickup of 3. It'll be a 3rd down and 5 now for Northern Iowa. Already 6th play of the drive, and we have got a UNI player shaken up. That's number 28, Titus Cram, who is down on the football field, and the training staff comes out to attend to him. Cram, the redshirt freshman from Bondurant, Iowa. So, of course, the most famous Northern Iowa Panther of them all, Jared, Kurt Warner. Legend in Cedar Falls and a Pro Football Hall of Famer, certainly a legend in St. Louis and Arizona as well.
Yeah,
Kurt Warner actually took over as the starting quarterback at Northern Iowa from Wyoming offensive coordinator Jay Johnson.
Yeah, absolutely. And you look back and you read the story about Kurt Warner. He was like that gunslinger. The coaches had a hard time with him because he was so talented, but he always wanted to make that Brett Favre throw. And at the same time, he made big plays. He was a heck of a quarterback for UNI and ended up traveling around the Arena League, and then got his one chance when Trent Green blows out his knee in a preseason game for the Rams and is able to lead the Rams to a Super Bowl that year.
So Titus Cram is helped off the field. It's a 3rd down and 5 now. Sheckelman in the shotgun for Northern Iowa. Baybui to his right. Sheckelman finds Kershaw on a crossing route. Snags the ball, high throw, catch made, and a 1st down conversion for Northern Iowa. What a catch by Tyson Kershaw. Fingertip grab and able to haul it in for the 1st down.
Yeah, absolutely. You talk to quarterbacks about when you throw on slants, you want to put it on their body so they don't get extended, and he definitely got extended there and took a couple shots from some Wyoming defenders, but held on to the football for a 1st down.
Kershaw, the 6th-year guy out of Fort Dodge, Iowa. Sheckelman checks down to Bay Bowie. Flags all over the place after a pickup of 2. So already Northern Iowa has converted 2 third downs on this drive.
Yeah, I think this one we're going to get.
Holding, number 71 offense. 10 yards from the previous spot. Replay, first down.
It's called on the right guard, Josh Volk.
Yeah, you could tell right here he's getting put back on States, and I think his last-ditch effort, he just got to pull him down to save a sack. And again, great pass rush. Again, great pass rush lanes by the Wyoming defensive line. Done a great job of keeping him in the pocket and getting push into his feet. That's what you want those D tackles to do, is push that pocket into the quarterback's feet. Great job of creating a turnover. Now you got a 2nd and long here.
Big-time bull rush from number 98, Jaden Williams, for Wyoming. This is a deep defensive line group for Wyoming. Aaron Bull loves the depth, loves the competition that he's getting right now on this defense. Good physical run from Bay Bowie up to the 44 as he gets back 7 yards on a first down at 20. It'll be a 2nd and 13, but we've got another Northern Iowa Panther shaken up down on the field. And the training staff will hustle back out. It appears as though one of the offensive linemen is down. That is the center, Kean Kammerling, the redshirt senior from Mount Vernon, Iowa. And he is quickly back on his feet.
That's good news for Northern Iowa. They're definitely never want your center to have to come out of the football game. He's the quarterback out there for that offensive line, making the calls, getting everybody on the same page. But it looks like he's walking off on his own power. Might be back out there pretty quickly.
Nate Thompson said this week he was really pleased with the depth on the offensive line at Northern Iowa. A lot of guys saw the field last week in the opener at Butler. And this is a big group. This is one of the things that Jay Sawvell talked about coming into this game. He said, hey, this is a Missouri Valley team. They have got a ton of size. They play very physical football. This is not your typical FCS kind of roster coming in Northern Iowa.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, Missouri Valley football is one of the best football FCS country in the country. You definitely knew you were going to see a good opponent today.
Now on 2nd down and 12. Inside handoff, Bay Bowie across midfield, setting up a 3rd and very manageable now for Northern Iowa after a pickup of 7 from Bay Bowie, who has carried the load here today as his 10th carry of the football game.
Yeah, just great job by the offensive line, pulling up gaps. Good job of hitting it and getting vertical. Creating a big 3rd down here at midfield. I wouldn't be surprised if Coach Steps has told his coordinator that he's got 2 plays here. But again, Wyoming looking for a way to get off the field on this first drive and get that ball back to their offense, who ended the half very, very hot.
Correction, that was number 22, Christian Collins, the freshman, on that carry. Now a 3rd down and 6. Northern Iowa has already converted 2 third downs on this drive. Sheckelman back, goes deep over the middle, and the pass is intercepted. Desmond Hearns going up and ripping it down, and the Wyoming defense gets the turnover. 1st and 10 for the Cowboys as Desmond Hearns comes up with his first interception of the season.
Great job playing man coverage. He undercuts the route, does a great job of basically running the route of the receiver, and does a great job of coming down with a tough catch.
So Sheckelman turns it over on the opening drive of this 3rd quarter for Northern Iowa. Hearns, excellent coverage on Aiden Price, comes down with the football. And Wyoming will get their first possession of this 3rd quarter when we come back up 10. Desmond Hearns with his first pick of the season, the junior out of Clearwater, Florida, Jared Petrino. Let's take a look at the coverage that he had on Aiden Price.
Yeah, just great man free, playing with outside leverage, trying to funnel to the safety, but then I think this is just great scouting and film review. I think he knew the route he was going to run, runs the route for him, undercuts it, knows he's got safety help over the top, and able to come up with the catch and get a big takeaway for the Cowboy defense.
10:39 to go here in the third quarter, and Caden Anderson will turn and give to Sam Scott. And a short gain on first down. We'll call it a pickup of 4 for Sam Scott. Scott coming off a 132-yard performance last week in the win at Akron. So far today, 7 carries for 54 yards and a touchdown. The senior out of Omaha, Nebraska, bruising runner at 6'2", 230 pounds. Scott to the left hip of Anderson. Drops back, surveys, rolls, in trouble, and he's able to throw it away. Pass rush was right on top of him from Northern Iowa. That was Jamarian Augustus on the pressure.
Yeah, just a good job of playing. Great coverage. They get a green dog here. The linebacker looked like he was spying and ends up triggering on Caden, and great, smart decision by Caden Anderson to get that ball out of bounds and not have a negative play.
And now Augustus is shaken up. And we'll have a stoppage as he'll be tended to. Back on his feet, good to see. Jamarian Augustus, redshirt junior out of Montgomery, Alabama, a transfer from Highland Community College. And we'll step aside with 10 minutes to go here in this third quarter. Wyoming 17, Northern Iowa 7 at War Memorial Stadium. We had an intentional grounding called on that last pass attempt by Caden Anderson, setting up a 3rd and 21 situation for Wyoming. And then Anderson unable to connect deep with Gillenborg down the middle of the football field. Another flag flies. This time it's a face mask penalty against Northern Iowa.
Automatic first down.
So a new set of downs for Wyoming. A wild chain of events here in Laramie. We went to break, Jared Petrino, and then we got a very late flag thrown on Caden Anderson for intentional grounding.
Yeah, definitely a lot of stuff happened just now, but at the same time now we're back to 1st and 10. And this is where I want to see the Wyoming offense create separation. Wyoming has struggled creating separation against teams like this and get a multiple score lead. Let's see whether they can make that penalty hurt.
Killer face mask on 3rd down and 21 as Anderson throws a strike. Connects with Jalen Sargent for 14 yards on 1st down. And a fresh set of downs now coming up, and Anderson starts operating at tempo. Anderson takes a shotgun snap, loads up, looking deep. He'll check down to Sam Scott, and Scott is hit and brought down by Caleb Frazier after a pickup of 6 yards on the reception for Sam Scott.
Yeah, Wyoming came out with some tempo. Sargent had a great catch on that last play. put it outside of him. Great hands catch, brings it in. Then they go quick and then try to take a shot there, going over the top. But it's a great, smart decision by Caden to check it down to Sparks and still get a 6-yard gain.
This time the handoff is to Harris, running right, cuts upfield, squares up his shoulders, and he's got a first down and a pickup of 6 for Samuel Tote Harris.
Well, you can see why the coaches are excited about Harris. When he puts the ball in his hand, he just looks like a big play is going to happen. He looks like he's got the chance to break one at any point. You can tell why they're so excited about him and his future as a Wyoming Cowboy.
Wyoming with a 10-point lead. Ball now on the northern Iowa half of the football field. Anderson turns, gives. That's Harris again. Harris breaks one tackle. Harris down at the 30-yard line. A 17-yard carry for the freshman Samuel Tote Harris out of Cibolo, Texas, as this has become the Tote Harris show. Toting the rock right now for Wyoming. This time on play action, Anderson flips it over to John Michael Gillenborg, and Gillenborg slips out of a tackle ahead to the 20, a pickup of 10 and first down yardage after the ball is spotted. John Michael Gillenborg with his 6th reception of the football game. It's been a massive game for J. Mike. He's brought his A game here today.
Absolutely. You can tell it's a point of emphasis to get him some touches, and obviously every offensive coordinator is going to find a way to get him the ball, but last week the opportunities weren't there, and they've done a great job of getting the ball in his hands and done a great job of scheming around to get him the ball in his hands for him to be successful in open space.
First down and 10 now. Ball spotted at the 20-yard line of northern Iowa. Richardson in motion. Anderson inside handoff. And a nice job by northern Iowa to snuff that one out as Samuel Tote Harris is taken down for no gain. Samuel Tote Harris, by the way, his mom in the military. He moved around a lot as a child. Actually played some peewee football in Japan. Part of his development that eventually led to a scholarship to the University of Wyoming. And the coaches said last week they wanted to get other backs involved, and Jared, I would say Tote Harris is getting involved right now on this drive.
No question.
Now on second down, Anderson sets up a screen. He got it to Harris, and Harris is brought down as this drive has suddenly stalled out. It'll be a 3rd down and 10 now coming up. Check that 3rd and 11 after a loss of 1 for Wyoming. Ryan Crandall came up and made the stop, the transfer from Western Illinois. Nice job defending the screen by northern Iowa.
Big 3rd down here for Wyoming. They got plenty of vertical field to try to stretch the field and create some seams. Looks like northern Iowa is going to bring some pressure right now.
Harris on the left hip of Anderson. 3 receivers to the right. Gillenborg resets in the backfield. Northern Iowa brings pressure. Anderson lofts it up for the end zone, and it's caught for the touchdown. Chris Durr, 21 yards from Caden Anderson. A beautiful touch throw with pressure in his face, and Wyoming extends the lead to 23-7.
Northern Iowa dialed up the pressure. They brought 7 guys. Great job by Caden. Great pickup by John Michael Gillenborg. Great ball placement. Put it over the shoulder. Chris Durr goes up. Strong hands. We're able to bring it in for a touchdown for the Cowboys.
2nd touchdown catch of the season for Chris Durr. Sandvik adds the extra point. 10-play, 76-yard drive. Took 4 minutes and 31 seconds off the clock. Caden Anderson poised in the pocket. Beautiful touch and a great snag by Durr. And Wyoming extends the lead to 17 in Laramie. Caden Anderson to Chris Durr, 21-yard scoring strike, 24-7. Wyoming now with the lead. Outstanding 10-play, 76-yard drive. Took 4 minutes and 31 seconds off the clock. Kept by the Anderson to Durr touchdown. Jared Petrino, what did you like on that drive for Jay Johnson's Wyoming offense?
I think the one thing I liked, we saw a lot of Caden Anderson sitting in the pocket and delivering throws, and did a great job of that. They had a couple runs in there, but at the same time, a lot of that was through the air, and Caden did a great job of being efficient. They had the little stall on first and second down before that touchdown, but able to make Northern Iowa pay for that pressure and get the ball over the top to Chris Durr for a touchdown.
Edmiston puts a boot into it, and the ball is dropped and scooped up by Morris at the goal line, and Morris did well to get out past the 20-yard line. It'll be a first down and 10 now for Northern Iowa. Tote Harris had 22 yards on 3 carries on that drive. Caden Anderson for the football game now 15 of 19 for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he started by getting Sam Scott involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the nice thing that you get excited about Wyoming's offense is I think a different guy touched the ball in all the efficient plays. It wasn't the same person making all the plays.
So Northern Iowa goes to work now, trailing by 17. Short gain on the pitch and catch for 6 yards on first down. Outstanding work by the Wyoming offensive line on that last drive. You talked about the time that Anderson had. Let's not forget, when it comes to this Wyoming offensive line, they're not just good blockers, they are also media stars. Jack Walsh, Wes King, and Caden Barnett, hosts of the Fat, Fatter, and Fattest podcast. I checked out the latest episode last night. Best of luck to Wes King as he recovers from a bee sting on his ankle that I don't feel as though he got much sympathy from his co-hosts.
I can't imagine much sympathy goes on in that podcast.
Very entertaining show, though, by the guys on that Wyoming offensive line. That was Daly for a pickup of 1, setting up a 3rd down and 3 now for Northern Iowa.
This would be a big play right here for the Wyoming. I mean, just keeping the pedal down, not laying off the gas pedal, getting another 3 and out and getting that ball right back to their offense here in the 3rd quarter.
Evan Eller and Braden Johnson in the middle of that defensive line right now. Wyoming goes heavy on a 3rd down and 3. Sheckelman at quarterback. Takes a shotgun snap, quick throw, found his receiver Tyson Kershaw, who had it on his left hip but could not pull it in. The catch was ruled incomplete. Looked as though Kershaw, who had a tough catch earlier in the game, had a chance to be able to haul that one in, but just not able to actually establish possession.
Yeah, it's the exact same play that you talked about, that play before where he caught that one. It's the exact same play, just the ball place was a little bit different. Wasn't able to reel it in. Big stop for the Cowboys.
Penninger into punt now for Northern Iowa. DeBlanc back to return, and flags all over the place, and will probably be marching this back 5 yards.
36 of the kicking team. 5-yard penalty, made 4th down.
Ball start called on Braden McShane.
Tell you what, I think everyone in this stadium would love to see a DeBlanc return right here. The Pepinger's got the wind behind him, so you think he's going to get a returnable ball here. Let's see what happens.
DeBlanc, the true freshman from Houston. They expect big things out of him this season. And DeBlanc will have an opportunity right here with room to return it. Catches it at the 27, trying to pull his foot out of the tackle. But he is eventually brought down by Ethan Scoville. Short return, 50-yard punt for Northern Iowa. Wyoming ball up 24-7, 4:24 to go in the 3rd in Laramie. Nate Kreckman, Jared Petrino back with you here in Laramie. And Todd Stepsis told us this week they'd have to play a clean football game to pull the upset at Wyoming. And unfortunately, Jared, the miscues are starting to pile up.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime you get the ball in the red area, you expect to have points as long as you don't turn the ball over. So a missed field goal, and then right before half, having that big block punt, trade up another field goal for the Wyoming Cowboys, and then a great pick by Hearns there, set up points for the Cowboy offense.
New drive starts at the 29-yard line for Wyoming. Anderson, bubble screen outside to Durr. Durr makes one man miss, turns upfield, and gets angled out of bounds at the just shy of midfield at the 49-yard line. He was eventually run out of bounds by Fletcher Marshall. Penalty marker will check the flag.
Number 11, offense. 10 yards from the line of the spot of foul. Replay first down.
Yeah, disregard all of that as holding is called on the wide receiver Michael Fitzgerald.
Yeah, he gets out in front of him, and again, another tough call. You got to keep your hands inside, and Northern Iowa's defenders are doing a good job of selling calls, I think, and you see a couple guys flopping, and he's flailing right there, but at the same time, you got to keep your hands inside. Call it, especially when it's on the opposing team's bench sideline.
It's now 100 yards in penalties today on Wyoming.
Yeah, that's something that's going to burn up Coach Sawvell, and give him something this week of practice to really, really harp on going into next week.
Huge game for Caden Anderson today. 232 yards and 2 touchdowns against this Northern Iowa defense. Northern Iowa pitched a shutout in the last week in their victory over Butler. But Anderson has really found a rhythm here today. So we'll call it first down and 13 now for Wyoming. Anderson under center. Has time. The pass was batted at the line of scrimmage and was ruled incomplete. Ball fell to the turf. That was Jamarian Augustus. Yeah, got a hand on the football.
Yeah, good push up front, able to get back, beats Jack Walsh at the center, and able to knock that ball down. Thank goodness that ball got out of his hands before it got knocked out.
Yeah, correction, that was Jackson Storts with the deflection. Second down now and 13 for Caden Anderson and Wyoming. Kelman leaking out of the backfield. Anderson checks down, and Kelman is upended shy of the 25-yard line. Third and long now for the Wyoming Cowboys as they lead it 24-7. Inside 4 minutes to go in this third quarter in Laramie.
Yeah, good coverage by UNI's secondary there. O-line did a great job of protecting Caden, but there's nowhere to go with the ball. Had to dump it to the back, and then great pursuit by UNI's defense to actually get a negative 1 yard gain there, making it third and long.
Anderson has all kinds of space, steps up, tried to get it to John Michael Gillenborg, went through his hands, falls incomplete as Gillenborg took a shot from the safety Mo Alowo, and the punting unit will come onto the field.
Yeah, good play design, got the ball right there. Gillenborg wasn't able to make it. Even if he does make that catch, I think he'll still think he's short of a first down, but at the same time would like to see that one get reeled in. And bringing on the punting unit for the Pokes.
Bart Edmiston, end over end punt. And that's fielded by Roque. And Roque is knocked out of bounds at the 44-yard line on the Northern Iowa half of the football field. First and 10 now coming up for Northern Iowa. So we told you about Todd Stepsis, the new head coach at Northern Iowa. We got plenty of new head coaches around the Mountain West Conference. Been a great start so far for Dan Mullen at UNLV after great runs at Mississippi State and Florida. Matt Entz coming from North Dakota State to Fresno State. Bronco Mendenhall making the rare in-conference jump from New Mexico to Utah State. And then Jason Eck and the Lobos. Jason Eck, his team had a good showing in week number 1 at the Big House at Michigan. Sheckelman, a pitch back to Harrison Bay Bowie. Flag flies. Bay Bowie across midfield, a gain of 8. Our referee is Cal McNeil, and we'll
Holding,
check the call.
69 offense. 10 yards from the previous spot. Replay first down.
Yeah, you talk about the new coaches in the league. A lot of those come, you got Jason Eck, who's got a Missouri Valley experience at South Dakota State. Came from Idaho, I know, but one of the best play callers I've ever coached against. You got Dan Mullen, who's had all those successful teams at Mississippi State with Dak Prescott, and then was the offensive coordinator with Tim Tebow. And then you got Bronco Mendenhall going from, interconference was, like you said, is rare. And then Coach Entz, going from North Dakota State to USC for a year as a linebacker coach, and then getting that job at Fresno State.
Jason Eck in New Mexico, a 10-point win at home today over Idaho State. Other finals in the Mountain West Conference here today after the pickup of 3. Number 7, Texas, handling their business against San Jose State. 0-2 start for Ken Niumatalolo and the Spartans. 38-7 the final there, and then Texas A&M doubling up Bronco Mendenhall and Utah State 44-22. 2 other games in progress right now. Fresno State and Oregon State close late third quarter. And Sacramento State has an early lead in Reno against the Nevada Wolfpack and Jeff Choate. Second down and 16 now coming up for Matthew Sheckelman and Northern Iowa. Sheckelman, pressure in his face, steps up, goes deep, shot play, had the receiver Aiden Price. He had a step, but the ball out of reach, and it falls harmlessly incomplete. Third and long now coming up for Northern Iowa.
Yeah, that's a ball he's going to want back. Andrew Johnson got caught flat-footed staring in the backfield. Maybe thought the quarterback was going to take off and run. Aiden Price goes right by him but overthrows him. The wind might have got a hold of that one because the wind is blowing that direction. Maybe made that one sail a little bit longer. One that Shackelford would like to have back, but the Pokes are happy that thing sailed.
Third down and 16. Nickel package for Wyoming, 2 linebackers. Sheckelman through the hands of his intended receiver, Derek Anderson, the tight end, just over the fingertips. If Anderson could have hauled that in, he would have had first down yardage with space to run. A missed opportunity there for the Northern Iowa Panthers as Sheckelman with 2 straight overthrows to force the punt.
Yeah, you see Rutherford right there just underneath it, maybe caused that ball to have to sail a little bit more. It's good to see him back out there playing linebacker for the Cowboys, but made that thing sail, and Anderson wasn't able to haul it in.
Pettinger catches, boots. DeBlanc tracking over, and the ball bounces down inside the 10-yard line, but we've got a penalty flag. And we'll check that to find the spot where Wyoming will start this next drive, leading it 24-7 with 94 seconds remaining in quarter number 3.
I think you're going to see a legal formation again there, Nate. I don't think enough Panthers run line of scrimmage.
Legal formation, more than 4 in the backfield. Kicking team, 5 yards from the previous spot. Replay, 4th down.
I always like it when they make him kick it again. They just got done covering all the way down there. They ran down the field. Now they got to make him do it again. Now here's your chance to maybe bust one.
Todd Steps has brought his team out a day early to Laramie to try and acclimate that the best that they possibly can. And Jared, that's one of those things that is a good intention, but the burn of the lungs at 7,220 feet above sea level, you don't know about it until you play.
Yeah, no doubt. You've heard every myth there is about playing at altitude versus not playing at altitude, and you hear about coming out a day early, you hear about all of those other things, but you don't know what really works.
LeBlanc fields the punt, and he is taken down at the 28-yard line. Could not find the corner to get turned upfield. A 54-yard punt. Well, let's talk about the play of Caden Anderson here today in his 5th career start at the University of Wyoming. He has thrown 2 touchdown passes, and he has completed 74% of his throws. He's given Jay Johnson the kind of efficiency he's looking for.
Absolutely, and you gotta, like I said earlier, you gotta love the fact that it's multiple guys. It's not 1 or 2 guys. You see that ball getting touched by Sargent, by Durr, by Gillenborg, by Sam out of the backfield. a lot of people making plays and touching the ball and creating positive plays for the Cowboy offense.
17-yard punt return for DeBlanc. Wyoming goes back to work. Anderson in trouble, and he gets decked. Ball on the turf and recovered by Northern Iowa. 1st and 10 for the Panthers at the Wyoming 15-yard line. UNI needed a big-time play on defense, and they got it.
Northern Iowa came with a corner blitz, and the right tackle did not see him coming, and he got a clear shot. Perfect timing. It's kind of that the way you picture it when you're blitzing as a corner or safety, that he's able to time that thing up, and he hits it as Caden's trying to throw the football, and Caden's down right now and getting attended to.
Yeah, Anderson is down right now and getting checked out. But he was absolutely blasted, and he did not see that pass rush coming off the edge. Like you said, he had his eyes downfield all the way. That's a scary play for a quarterback. I mean, Jared, you talk about the vulnerability that a player has on a play like that.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got that ball corked back, ready to throw it, and he gets contact. You really hope it's nothing shoulder or arm related, but you just don't know.
It was Jonathan Cabral Martin who had the huge interception last week for Northern Iowa that came screaming in off the edge. It was recovered by Jack Krebs for Northern Iowa at the 16-yard line of Wyoming. Clock is stopped with 1:12 remaining here in this third quarter. Get you a replay coming up now. Anderson is sitting up, but it is quiet right now inside War Memorial Stadium as you see Jay Sawvell out to check on his quarterback.
Positive picture there. He is leaning on his right arm. He's pulling himself up. Maybe just he got the wind completely knocked out of him, which is very understandable. He's walking off on his own power, which is good to see.
So the sack fumble by Jonathan Cabral Martin, transferred from Central Connecticut State, as we'll get a look.
Again, you look up top, corner pressure, the tackle does not fan out, and then here he comes and puts his helmet right on the ball, and perfect timing. And Jack Walsh tries his best to get that, or Sandy tries his best to get that, and unfortunately the UNI defense are there. And now big situation here for the Cowboy defense with the ball on the 15-yard line to start this drive.
So a great call there for Northern Iowa. And Jackson Daly in on first down. So Jackson Daly is going to carry the football when he comes into the game. We'll get another look at that hit on Anderson by Cabral Martin.
Just curious to see if that ball was at. Yep, I think he was getting ready to throw it.
Yeah.
And great timing, and the ball comes out. And again, good dial-up pressure there by the UNI defensive staff.
Huge hit by Cabral Martin. Clean hit by Cabral Martin to jar the football loose, and it was recovered by Krebs. Now on second down, Shackelford looking end zone, but he gives the football right back to Wyoming. Picked off, intercepted inside the 5. That was Evan Eller in the coverage with the interception. First down, Wyoming, as the Pokes defense comes right back and makes a big-time play late in the third quarter.
Nate, it's like deja vu at Akron last week when they had the chance to go score and they get a pick by a linebacker. Great job of playing underneath coverage. Shuck does not see the linebacker right there, and again, I think if he doesn't catch it, I think a DB's right there to catch it. So great job by the Cowboy defense of standing tall, and you always talk about playing great defense off a sudden change. Well, that's a great job of playing great defense off a sudden change. Now I'm curious to who comes out and plays quarterback for the Wyoming offense, being backed up here on the 2.5-yard line coming out.
So the backup quarterback, Landon Sims, the sophomore from Evergreen, Alabama, now comes into the game, and what a way to get your first drive of the season for Landon Sims. Backed up all the way to his own 2-yard line. Evan Eller with the interception, like you said, just like Braden Johnson in the end zone last week at Akron. Another linebacker interception for Wyoming, and now they take over 98 yards away from pay dirt. Sims takes his first snap under center. Turns, Gibbs breaks one tackle across the 20. It's a foot race and finally tripped up at the 35-yard line. Teron Kelman with another big-time carry as he picks up 33 yards on first down and gets Wyoming out of danger.
Great job by the offensive line and doing a great sealing off the edge. Number 70 does a great job of holding on, and Rex Johnson getting to the second level, and him able to get to the third level and make a great big play coming out as an offense.
Touchdown saving tackle there by Ethan Scoville of Northern Iowa.
One thing, Nate, about Landon is he has the ability to run. He can run. He's got great feet and can run out of the pocket.
That brings us to the end of the third quarter. Teron Kelman now 62 yards on the ground, and Wyoming football up 17 as we go to the fourth. Good to see Caden Anderson has emerged from the medical tent. Appears to be talking to his family right now over on the Wyoming sideline. Meanwhile, Landon Sims has come in at quarterback. Sims played at East Central Community College in Mississippi last season, threw for over 1,700 yards and completed 59.7% of his passes. And Sims in the football game now as we get the fourth quarter underway. On an RPO, Sims will keep on first down, and he jets ahead for 7 yards on the play. So Sims making a play with his feet immediately upon getting into the football game and seeing his first action at the University of Wyoming.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing better than a quarterback getting your first hit right there. You know, you could see Landon's athletic ability running the football. Now they got a lot of the run game that they can with the quarterback.
Sims play action, but he is hit and dropped in the backfield. Jamarian Augustus with the sack and a loss of 9 on second down and short.
Yeah, great job by the defensive end of not squeezing down, able to see it, goes upfield and does a great job of finishing. You see a lot of times you see a DN get there, but they don't finish the play. Does a great job of finishing it, causing a third and long here now for Wyoming's offense.
So let's see what Jay Johnson does on a third down and long here with a young quarterback just onto the field here early fourth quarter. Wyoming and Northern Iowa. Three-score lead for the Cowboys. Sims will drop back, surveys, now steps up, he'll tuck and he'll run. Sims turns upfield, has a chance, dives, and he is right near the marker. Picks up 12 on 3rd and 12 and a first down carry. Landon Sims making things happen with his feet.
Absolutely, UNI comes with a pressure, a field edge pressure, and Landon steps up and just, you can just see his speed. He can move and does a great job of seeing the chains and just dives forward, goes head first and gets the first down.
Nice work by Kelman in pass protection there for Wyoming. And a first down and 10 now with the ball spotted at the 45-yard line. Sims turns, gives. That's Tote Harris. Harris weaving his way ahead and across midfield on a pickup of 7 on first down. You know, this Wyoming coaching staff said they wanted to get more guys involved in the run game here this week, and they certainly have been able to do that. The carries have been distributed very well here today for Wyoming, as now we have an injured player for Northern Iowa down on the field. The medical staffs have been busy here in the second half. That is the safety Mo Alowo, who is down right now for Northern Iowa.
Had 2 Panthers down. He had 8 and 9 down.
Jonathan Cabral Martin, who actually had the sack fumble on Caden Anderson, down as well.
Boy, right now UNI's defense is loading up the box. They got a lot of defenders up at the line of scrimmage. I don't know if they're playing too much of Lannon being able to throw the football right now, but there's a lot of bodies in there. It's a great job by the back, be able to make a couple people miss and get vertical for 6.
Listen to this balance in the run game for Wyoming. Sam Scott, 7 carries for 58. Tote Harris, 7 carries for 43. Teron Kelman, 4 carries for 53 yards in the game, as Wyoming has racked up 136 on the ground with 12:50 left in the football game.
You just got to love that as an offensive line coach.
Joe Tripodi, the O-line coach here at Wyoming, as Scott was unable to wiggle out of that tackle. Taken down by Malik Stewart. Pickup of 1. It'll be a 3rd down. And we have another injured UNI Panther. Tucker Langenberg, the middle linebacker, is down.
You know, this is a great situation for, you know, Wyoming. They're up by 17. It's a 3-possession game. You know, they knew they had a guy in Caden Anderson being able to play quarterback, but now you get Landon out there. You get him some reps that aren't just like a blowout game or a end of a game situation. He's getting quality reps right here, and this could prove to be good dividends. And maybe they might find something here with him, you know, and being able to do some things that maybe Caden can't. But great opportunity for him to step in and step up for this team and see what he can do.
So we have not heard the status of Caden Anderson. They're down in 5. Opportunity for the backup quarterback Landon Sims now into the football game. He'll work out of the shotgun. The tight end Gillenborg in motion. And Sims will keep it and go absolutely nowhere. He is swarmed right at midfield. And Northern Iowa forces the punt. With 12 minutes now left in the football game.
Yeah, they came back that the second play of that drive where Landon was able to get loose there and get vertical for a big play. This time UNI's defense was definitely ready for it. They brought a lot of pressure and creating a 4th down. And now Wyoming's opportunity here to try to pin him back, trying to pin him deep here on a good punt situation.
Bart Edmiston into punt. High punt, and it'll go into the end zone for a touchback. It'll be a first down and 10 at the 20-yard line for Northern Iowa when we come back. Wyoming 24, Northern Iowa 7. 4th quarter action at War Memorial Stadium in Laramie. Wyoming +1 in the turnover department here today. And they have made life difficult for Matthew Sheckelman.
Yeah, absolutely. They've confused him. I think a couple times he's thinking he's gotten zone, a couple times he's gotten man. And again, great job by the Wyoming defense of creating opportunities and creating takeaways and just bowing their back when their backs were against the wall when UNI was threatening to score.
Sheckelman has thrown for 105 yards today, no scores and 2 interceptions. He flips it ahead to J.C. Roque. Pickup of 2. Second down and 8 now coming up for Northern Iowa, who needs a score on this drive in the worst way.
Yeah, absolutely. I would expect them to maybe pick up the tempo after they get a first down and try to get more possessions. They obviously are a 3-possession game right now with 11 minutes left. They do have all 3 timeouts, but I would expect them to start picking up their tempo in between plays here.
Northern Iowa Panthers out of the Missouri Valley Football Conference at the FCS level. Trailing here in the 4th quarter at the University of Wyoming. That's the freshman back Christian Collins going directly up the gut, and a pickup of 4 second carry today for Collins.
Yeah, again, 3rd down. I think, like I said earlier, I think if UNI does convert a first down, you'll see him probably go a little bit of no huddle and pick up their tempo. But again, another opportunity here, 3rd and short, 3rd and 4 for this Wyoming defense. Interesting to see if Coach Bull tries to bring pressure. He likes to walk up the linebackers and show pressure and bail out sometimes, and sometimes he brings them. Looks like he's giving them the same look right now.
Defensive coordinator Aaron Bull, the son of legendary Wyoming head coach Craig Bull, on 3rd down and 4. Sheckelman had his receiver J.C. Roque hit him right in the 0, and unfortunately Roque could not haul it in. A critical drop there on 3rd down.
Yeah, they came out, showed pressure. Great play design there. Looks like Roque just the old trying to run the ball before you catch it, and wasn't able to come up with it. Brings out the punt team for the Panthers.
So the Wyoming defense gets off the field with 10:09 to go. Noah Pettinger now on to punt for Northern Iowa. Low snap. Pettinger did good to scoop that up. Caught by Dion DeBlanc at the 28-yard line. DeBlanc across the 30, up past the 40-yard line until he is finally pushed back. 1st down and 10 now coming up for Wyoming after a 45-yard punt by Noah Pettinger for Northern Iowa. The Wyoming Cowboys up 3 scores and trying to milk the clock. Under 10 minutes to go at War Memorial Stadium. Mountain West Football is sponsored by Intermountain Health, helping people live the healthiest lives possible. 9:56 remaining. War Memorial Stadium, Gold Out Day in Laramie. And the Cowboys with a 1st down and 10 at their own 40-yard line. And Let's see if Wyoming can activate the ground game here with Landon Sims at quarterback and take some time off this clock. Well, certainly the ground game is working on that carry. Another huge gain for Teron Kelman, this time 21 yards.
They have gotten a lot of mileage with this same play call. Great job of finishing runs. You got to love, as a running back coach, a way when a back, I think he's just going to go out of bounds and he's able to lower his shoulder and finish a run like that.
Kelman averaging 14.8 yards per carry. Sims throws a bubble screen out left. And first down yardage is picked up there. Bryson Brantley on the catch. Check that. We'll call it a gain of 8, although he did go crashing into the chain gang. And it appears as though we have a bent marker over on the opposite side of the football field from our broadcast position.
Yep, we most definitely do. And looks like they got a replacement. That was quick.
Mountain West crew all over it to be able to get that replaced.
Or maybe not. He's just going to have to hold two sides of it.
I was going to say, it has all the tensile strength of the beer snake up in the stands. As
Great block by Evan Sabota out in front of Brantley there, and able to allow him to get past that corner and able to get a good 8-yard gain on first down.
That was Mo Olowo delivering the blow over on the sideline and leading to the equipment malfunction over on the Wyoming sideline.
Unfortunately, this type of thing is what's going to stall this game until they get the replacement. Here it comes. It looks like now they got the replacement set coming out.
Wyoming in home openers, 52-12-1 all time, winning 80% of their non-conference home openers. Nailed a 3-score lead right now in the fourth quarter in Laramie and trying to bring this one home.
Yeah, nothing's better than the Gold Rush game. I mean, Gold out, opening, great weather, got a great student section over there. Hall of Fame weekend, everything all together. You put that all together, and ends up being a great weekend here in Laramie, Wyoming.
Second down and 2, as it appears as though the chain gang has been able to straighten things out. Landon Sims, the backup quarterback, in for the injured Caden Anderson. Sims on an inside handoff to Kelman, and Kelman keeps the feet chopping and pushes his way ahead for the first down, picking up 7 yards on second down and short.
So the respect that they're giving Sims on the run game now is they have to focus on the quarterback now, and it's allowed these running backs to find some space and able to make some big plays.
Ball now at the 24-yard line of UNI. Another give by Sims to Kelman, and this time Kelman goes diving ahead up past the 20 near the 15-yard line. Another gain of 7 yards for Teron Kelman. Kelman averaging 11.6 yards per carry here today, as he has certainly made a case to get more carries going forward here for Wyoming.
Absolutely. Coach Smith talked about how big big offensive line Wyoming had, that we had to slant and angle, and now you can see that O-line just leaning on them and creating a lot of forward push.
Sims under center. Another turn, another give. This time it's Toad Harris. This is Toad Harris inside the 5. This is Harris toting it into the end zone on an 18-yard scamper. Touchdown, Wyoming.
Great job up front. Great job by Harris just hitting. I mean, you saw that thing part, and he took off. He saw it. There was maybe one possible tackler there by the goal line, but he runs right through it, able to get his first career touchdown, I believe.
And what a drive for this Wyoming offensive line as they imposed their will on that UNI front here in this fourth quarter. 5-play, 60-yard drive, took 2 minutes and 44 seconds. Sandvik boots the PAT, bisecting the uprights. 31-7, Wyoming in control with just over 7 minutes to go in this one.
Yeah, just a nice little play design. QB under center. Great job by that offensive line. Again, it's just a split zone look. Great job by the tight end getting a big block there on the edge, and then Harris does the rest. But you can see right now those green jerseys, or those yellow jerseys, those gold jerseys are pushing those white jerseys back, and you can tell that Northern Iowa is starting to get fatigued out there.
186 yards on 33 carries today for this Wyoming offense, averaging 5.6 yards per carry. Led today by Teron Kelman with 87 yards on the ground. But don't forget about Tote Harris, 8 carries for 61 yards and a touchdown. Sam Scott actually had the first touchdown today for Wyoming. That was an 18-yard scoring run.
Coach Chaproti's going to have a big smile on his face after this game.
Ball booted into the end zone for a touchback. First down now coming up for Northern Iowa. Good job by Bart Edmiston. So a 31-7 game with 7:13 to go. Wyoming looking to do what they weren't able to do nearly enough last season, Jared Petrino, and that's sing Ragtime Cowboy Joe in the locker room here at newly renovated War Memorial Stadium.
Yeah, absolutely. It's last year's home schedule was tough, and it's good for them to get this. And not only that, just break away and get it and create separation in the scoreboard and get a lot of body. Last week they played 22 guys. Now I can't imagine how many guys are going to play now.
33 rushing attempts to 24 throws today for Wyoming. As we see the backup quarterback for Northern Iowa, Aiden Dunn, the redshirt senior from Dubuque, into the game now for UNI. And he immediately goes back to the sideline as they send in the run threat quarterback, Jackson Daly. Todd Stepsis and Nate Thompson have had a hard time finding any kind of consistency against this Wyoming defense here today. Daly keeps it, and he is dragged down in the backfield. Tackle for loss by Peter Ayabi, the transfer from Riverside City College out of San Diego, California. Originally the junior transfer, Ayabi with the tackle for loss. It'll be a 3rd down and 10 now for Northern Iowa.
Yeah, great job by the D-line, able to create separation and finish on the back on Daly in the backfield. Obviously, they got an idea. They knew what was coming with him being in the game, but a great job executing. 3rd and long now.
Ayabi now rushing off the right side on 3rd down and 10. The backup quarterback, Aiden Dunn, takes the snap. He's in trouble. He's grabbed. He escapes from the grasp of the Wyoming defender, but throws incomplete over the middle. And 4th down and 10 now coming up for Northern Iowa as the Wyoming defense quickly gets off the field on that series. You know that Coach Bull is ecstatic about the way that his defense has closed out this football game.
Absolutely. You look at the scoreboard, the 7 points of the one drive that had 35 yards of penalty yards.
Yeah.
And other than that, they played pretty clean.
DeBlanc standing back at the 35. Noah Pettinger, the senior punter for Northern Iowa. Good boot, spiraling punt. Caught by DeBlanc at the 26. DeBlanc splits 2 defenders, looking for the edge. DeBlanc looking for midfield. He turns upfield. One flag flies on the near side of the field, but DeBlanc is inside the 30-yard line before finally getting ridden out of bounds. We'll check the penalty marker after the 50-yard punt by Northern Iowa, but an excellent return by Dion DeBlanc. There is a flag on the field, and it does appear as though it will be against Wyoming to erase the big return by DeBlanc of 43 yards.
Yeah, I think they're going to get a hold here on the backside by one of the Cowboy linebackers. The only thing I don't love about that is
holding number 21 on the receiving team. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. 1st down, Wyoming.
Yeah, they got knock on the backside here, but again, it's not even by the play or anything. There's nothing. I mean, it's away from the point of attack. There's no real reason to do it. Just got to make a better decision. As an old coach, I don't love it when officials make calls that are on the backside of a play because it had nothing to do with the play. But at the same time, that's what he's told to do is throw the flag, and saw a penalty and threw it.
So the big return is erased by Dion DeBlanc. Wyoming will take over at the 40-yard line with Landon Sims in at quarterback. 6:03 to go here in Laramie. And Wyoming hoping to close this one out and improve to 2-0 on the year. The first down give is to the running back, Max White. Things are going to get a lot tougher for Jay Sawvell and Wyoming coming up after this one. They will get Big 12 opponents in the next two. The Utah Utes come to town next week, former conference foe. And then they'll go down to Boulder, Colorado to take on Coach Prime's CU Buffaloes in week 4 before a bye and then beginning conference play. But these next two opponents are going to be a big-time challenge coming up now for Wyoming.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, every Wyoming fan, you know, knew that you look at the schedule, you know, we had to get out 2-0 going into those last two non-conference games, and that was what had to have been the goal as a fan, to know that. And fortunately enough, looking at it, it's going to end up being 2-0 going into those two tough opponents. But you know, obviously, I think, you know, Utah coming in here, who's the preseason Big 12 pick to win the conference, and then you got obviously we know CU and what they've done in the last couple of years, but it'll be exciting to see them go up against someone that's at that Big 12 caliber and those Power 4 teams, and see what they got.
Rebuilt team for Deion Sanders in Boulder this season as Wyoming calls a timeout. But let's focus on what Wyoming has been able to do on the ground here today. 188 yards racked up on 35 carries. And again, they were looking to distribute the carries this week, Jared Petrino, and I'd say they've done that very well.
Oh, with no question. Big kudos to that offensive line for creating these opportunities for these backs. These backs just hit it. It was awesome to see a whole plethora of backs touching the football, making big plays. And, you know, if Wyoming's going to be good at football, they got to run the football. That's just that's that cowboy tough mentality, and that's what they did today, and they've done a great job of executing that game plan.
Teron Kelman leading the way with 87 yards on the ground. They got rushing touchdowns from both Tote Harris and Sam Scott here today, an average of 5.4 yards per carry on the ground. They got a 3rd down and 8 with inside 5 minutes to go in a 31-7 football game at newly renovated War Memorial Stadium in Laramie. Gold out day, and the renovations look fantastic. Sims spins out of trouble, throws on the run. He's got his receiver, Charlie Conan. First down yardage and more, a pickup of 13 yards. Athletic play by Landon Sims, and he did well to square up his shoulders and make an accurate throw.
Yeah, absolutely. Does a great job of getting out of the pocket, buying more time. I honestly thought he was just going to start running, but then he looks up and he sees the receiver right there, able to make a play and move the chains. Great job.
First catch on the day for Conan. And now the clock will tick inside the 4-minute mark. Give to Max White on first down, short gain. Max White, a senior out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. 4th back on this team, but really the 3-headed monster has impressed in this football game of Scott Kelman and Samuel Tote Harris.
Absolutely. You talk about restoring the war. How about this press box? I mean, this is first class, state of the art. If any of you Wyoming fans out there weren't able to make it this Saturday, I definitely tell you to get down here and take a look at this new renovation on this west side.
A spacious TV booth. I don't have to be anywhere near Jared Petrino here this afternoon.
Yeah, no doubt. You got this open air. You got all this space. It's just awesome view. Yeah. Great facilities here. They did a great job with this renovation, as we talked to Tyson Drew at halftime about it.
Huge game with Utah coming in next week. Home games against UNLV, San Jose State, the border war with CSU coming up in week 9. And don't forget, November 22nd.
What's happening then?
They'll retire Josh Allen's number
gotcha.
17 that day. I don't know if we've mentioned that or not. So that will be a hot ticket here in Laramie. Sims working on 3rd down. He checks down and connects with Max White inside the 45-yard line, but short of the marker. Look at that career of Josh Allen here in Laramie. So many great memories Jared Petrino. We know what he's done with the Buffalo Bills, but the triple overtime win over Northern Illinois, had the game-winning touchdown to Tanner Gentry to beat Boise State in Laramie, had a pair of wins over Colorado State. Don't forget that Mountain West Championship game. Even in defeat, he threw 3 touchdowns that day, and he had a legendary play, that forced fumble on DeMonte Casey, making the tackle to prevent a pick 6. Then he would go on in 2017 to throw 3 touchdowns in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. That propelled him to be a top 10 pick in the NFL draft. The Buffalo Bills trading up to get Josh Allen as Wyoming downs the ball at the 5-yard line as we've reached the 2-minute timeout. UNI football in the house that Josh Allen built here in Laramie, Wyoming. 31-7, Pokes. Coming out of the 2-minute timeout in Laramie, and Caden Anderson, 17-23 for 167 yards and a pair of touchdown strikes here today, but unfortunately he was unable to finish the football game as he was blasted by Jonathan Cabral Martin, forcing the fumble in that second half. That's what put Landon Sims into the game, and that is certainly going to be the biggest area of concern for Wyoming fans going into next week against Utah.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you hate to see that.
Defense, number 53 with contact, 5 yards, remain first down.
But yeah, it's definitely going to be the topic of conversation. You know, you walk off the field and knowing that happened, you just hope he's okay. You know, you hope it's not his arm, his shoulder, ribs, you know, any of those type of things. He did walk off on his own power, which is good to see, but we'll find out later on.
Yeah, we did see him exit the medical tent. He was certainly upright, and that's good to see. As inside 2 minutes to go, and Northern Iowa putting the ball on the ground, and at least so far, Coach Todd Steps is not using his timeouts. As we approach the 90-second mark, pickup of 1 on first down for Collins, the freshman. Jackson Daly into the game at quarterback for Northern Iowa. For UNI, they will fall to 1-1 on the year. They'll be back home against Eastern Washington at the Unidome next week. Eastern Washington losing 51-14 on the road on the blue turf at Boise State last night. So UNI will have a chance to get right next week after falling today to Wyoming. Daly on second down and little room to operate, and really there has not been much to speak of all day long for that Northern Iowa run game, averaging just 1.7 yards per carry. What a job done by the Wyoming front seven. 28 carries, 48 yards rushing today for Northern Iowa.
Yeah, I think the one thing that's evident is you can just see the team speed on defense for Wyoming is the bar has been raised from last year. I mean, anytime that looks like there might be a glimmer of hope for the UNI offense, all of a sudden there's 3 or 4 gold jerseys there able to make a tackle in open space.
Braden Johnson leading the way with 6 tackles today for Wyoming. Handoff by Dunn to Collins, and Collins with a first down run. And we'll see if that will be the final play of the football game. Clock stops on the first down. And we'll see if UNI runs another play. Does not appear as though they are in any hurry to break the huddle. And that will do it as the clock hits 0 here in Laramie. Handshakes all around. A good start at home for the Wyoming Cowboys as they win it 31-7 here this afternoon over the Northern Iowa Panthers. The excitement tempered a bit by the injury to Wyoming starting quarterback Caden Anderson. But one thing I know for certain for Jay Sawvell and Jay Johnson, they will be ecstatic when they put on the tape and get a look at what their run game did today, piling up 189 on the ground en route to this victory here this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. Great domination of the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball with that offensive line and defensive line. Coach Sawvell probably couldn't be happier with that performance. And then just, getting back to the old ways of winning at home, getting the season started off with this home record, 1 of 6, and being able to get this first win, that's something that they weren't able to do last year.
So Wyoming improves to 2-0 here in the early season with the Utah Utes coming in next week. Your final score from Laramie, Wyoming 31 and Northern Iowa 7. The Wyoming Cowboys, the goal of the season, restore the war. Well, a good step in that direction today. Caden Anderson throws a pair of touchdown passes, and Wyoming gets the victory. For Jared Petrino, I'm Nate Kreckman. Thanks for watching Mountain West football here on the Mountain West Network. So long from beautiful Laramie, Wyoming.